ट्रेडिंग इन द जोन बुक बाय मार्क डगलस। वर्ड बाय वर्ड कवर करेंगे इस बुक को। एंड ये एक ऐसी बुक है जो कि कहते हैं ना कि मस्ट रीड होनी चाहिए। अगर आपको सक्सेसफुल ट्रेडर बनना है मार्केट में, अगर आपको लॉस हो रहा है और आपको समझ नहीं आ रहा है कि आप क्यों लॉसेस कर रहे हो, ये बुक अगर आप एंड तक पढ़ोगे ना, आपके बहुत सारे डाउट्स क्लियर हो जाएंगे और काफ़ी कुछ आपको मार्केट की क्लैरिटी मिल जाएगी। चाहे आप कितने भी इंडिकेटर्स, कितने भी चीज़ें यूज़ कर रहे हो, ये बुक अगर आपने पढ़ ली तो आई एम श्योर आपको काफ़ी हेल्प मिलने वाली है। आपका कॉन्फिडेंस बढ़ेगा, आपकी डिसिप्लिन अच्छी हो जाएगी। मार्क डगलस की बुक लिखी हुई है और ये वन ऑफ द मस्ट रीड बुक और सबसे ज़्यादा पढ़ी जाने वाली बुक है। तो इस बुक को हम वर्ड बाय वर्ड स्टार्ट करेंगे एंड देखेंगे कि कैसी रहती है ये बुक, और मैं साथ में अपनी कमेंट्री भी दूंगा। और जो मुझे समझ आई है इस बुक से, मैंने कई बार पढ़ी हुई है बट कहीं मैंने देखा नहीं कि यूट्यूब पे ये वर्ड बाय वर्ड अवेलेबल हो। आप वॉक करते हुए, ड्राइव करते हुए भी इसको आराम से सुन सकते हो, बड़े आराम से। अगर आप फास्ट फॉरवर्ड करके भी सुनना चाहते हो तो वो सुन सकते हो। तो स्टार्ट करते हैं वर्ड बाय वर्ड, ट्रेडिंग इन द जोन। Dedication. This book is dedicated to all the traders I have had the pleasure of working with over 18 years of trading. इन्होंने 18 years की कोचिंग की है तो आई एम श्योर कुछ तो अच्छा जानते ही होंगे। तो आई एम श्योर आप लोगों को भी काफ़ी कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा। Each of you in your own unique way is a part of the insight and guidance this book will provide to those who choose to trade from a confident, disciplined and consistent state of mind. इस बुक में आपको सीखने को मिलेगा द रोड टू सक्सेस। चैप्टर 1 में द लूर एंड द डेंजर्स ऑफ द ट्रेडिंग। उसके बाद चैप्टर 3 में टेकिंग रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, मतलब अगर आपको ट्रेडिंग में लॉस हो रहा है तो उसकी आपको रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी अगर आप लोगे तभी, मार्केट को ब्लेम नहीं करना है। स्टेट ऑफ माइंड क्या रहना चाहिए, डायनेमिक्स ऑफ परसेप्शन, मार्केट्स पर्सपेक्टिव, थिंकिंग इन प्रोबेबिलिटीज, वर्किंग विद योर बिलीव्स, द नेचर ऑफ बिलीव्स एंड थिंकिंग लाइक अ ट्रेडर, चैप्टर 11। तो इन सारी चीज़ों पे आज हम बात करने वाले हैं। सो ये बुक काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग रहने वाली है। अगर आप सच में एक ट्रेडर बनने के लिए पैशनेट हो ना, आप ये बुक को चार्ट जाओ, वर्ड बाय वर्ड, एक बार नहीं 10 बार पढ़ो। आपको हर बार कुछ ना कुछ सीखने को मिलने वाला है। तो बिना किसी देरी के स्टार्ट करते हैं। Preface. The goal of any trader is to turn profits on a regular basis, yet so few people ever really make consistent money as a trader. What accounts for the small percent of traders who are consistently successful? To me, the determining factor is psychological. The consistent winners think differently from everyone else. I started trading in 1978. At the time, I was managing a commercial casualty insurance agency in the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. I had a very successful career and though thought I could easily transfer that success into trading. Unfortunately, I found that was not the case. ये बहुत सारे लोगों के साथ होता है। हम लोग बाकी के जो भी जॉब वगैरह कर रहे होते हैं उसमें काफ़ी सक्सेसफुल रहते हैं, तो हमें लगता है कि हम ट्रेडिंग में भी सक्सेसफुल हो जाएंगे। तो ऑथर जो हमारे मार्क डगलस जी हैं, उन्होंने भी यही सोचा था एंड पर ऐसा हुआ नहीं। 3 साल बाद, by 1981, I was thoroughly disgusted with my inability to trade effectively while holding another job. So I moved to Chicago and got a job as a broker with Merrill Lynch at the Chicago Board of Trade. How did I do? Well, within 9 months of moving to Chicago, I had lost nearly everything I owned. 9 महीने में भाई साहब पूरा इन्होंने अपना कैपिटल लूज कर दिया। My losses were the result of both my trading activities and my lifestyle, which demanded that I make a lot of money as a trader. From these early experiences as a trader, I learned an enormous amount about myself, about the role of psychology in trading. As a result, in 1982, I started working on my first book, The Disciplined Trader. जो इसके पहले की बुक है वो डिसिप्लिन ट्रेडर उन्होंने लिखी थी, वो भी अच्छी बुक है। बट अगर आप ये ट्रेडिंग इन द जोन बुक पढ़ते हो तो आपको उस बुक को पढ़ने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ी, क्योंकि ये और भी डिटेल में इस बुक में बताया गया है। When I began this project, I had no concept of how difficult it was to write a book or explain something that I understood for myself in a manner and form that would be useful to other people. I thought it was going to take me between 6 and 9 months to get the job done. It took 7.5 years and was finally published in 1990. In 1983, I left Merrill Lynch and start a consulting firm, Trading Behavior Dynamics, where I presently develop and conduct seminars on trading psychology and act in the capacity of what is commonly referred to as trading coach. I have done countless presentations for trading companies, clearing firms, brokerage houses, banks and investment conferences all over the world. मतलब काफ़ी एक्सपीरियंस है, ये अपने बारे में बता रहे हैं अभी स्टार्टिंग में कि इनको काफ़ी एक्सपीरियंस है अपने काम का. I have worked at a personal level, one-on-one with virtually every type of trader in the business, including some of the biggest flow traders, hedgers, option specialists, and CTAs, as well as neophytes. As of this writing, I have spent the last 17 years dissecting the psychological dynamics behind trading so that I could develop effective methods for teaching the proper principles of success. What I've discovered is that at the most fundamental level, there is a problem with the way we think. There is something inherent in the way our minds work that doesn't fit very well with the characteristic shown by the markets. Those traders who have confidence in their own trades, who trust themselves to do what needs to be done without hesitation, are the ones who become successful. They no longer fear the erratic behavior of the market. They learn to focus on the information that helps them spot opportunities to make a profit rather than focusing on the information that reinforces their fears. मतलब वो fears में नहीं जीते हैं और process पे फोकस करते हैं. अगर हम प्रोसेस पे फोकस करेंगे तो हमें कभी भी ट्रेडिंग में दिक्कत नहीं आएगी. फियर से आपको जीतना है. While this may sound complicated, it all boils down to learning to believe that number one, you don't need to know what's going to happen next to make money. बड़ा मतलब मुश्किल है ये बोलना कि आपको ये जानने की ज़रूरत नहीं है मार्केट में कि क्या होने वाला है. पहली चीज़ आपको ये समझनी है. Number two, anything can happen. Number three, every moment is unique, meaning every edge and outcome is truly a unique experience. The trade either works or it doesn't. In any case, you will wait for the next edge to appear and go through the process again and again. With this approach, you will learn in a methodical, non-random fashion what works and what doesn't. And just as important, you will build a sense of self-trust so that you won't damage yourself in an environment that has the unlimited qualities the markets have. Most traders don't believe that their trading problems are the result of the way they think about trading, और more specifically how they are thinking while they are trading. जब हम ट्रेडिंग कर रहे होते हैं उस टाइम हमारा थॉट प्रोसेस क्या चल रहा है ये बहुत ज़्यादा मैटर करता है. उस टाइम आपको ये चीज़ देखनी है. द फर्स्ट बुक, द डिसिप्लिन ट्रेडर, I identified the problems confronting the trader from a mental perspective and then built a psychological framework for understanding the nature of the problems and why they exist. I had 5 major objectives in mind writing the Trading in the Zone. To prove to the trader that more or better market analysis is not the solution to his trading difficulties or lack of consistent results. मतलब आप कितनी भी मार्केट एनालिसिस कर लो आपकी ट्रेडिंग सक्सेसफुल नहीं होने वाली. एक बेसिक तो आपको समझ में आ गया कि ये टेक्निकल एनालिसिस है, ये सपोर्ट है, ये रेजिस्टेंस है, ये सब आपको समझ में आ गया. उसके बाद एक बार आपको एंट्री समझ में आ गई, यहाँ एंट्री करनी है, यहाँ एग्जिट करना है, ये बेसिक आपको पता होना चाहिए. उसके अलावा आप कितना भी ज़्यादा एनालिसिस कर लो आपको सक्सेस नहीं मिलने वाली. टू कन्विंस द ट्रेडर दैट इट्स हिज एटीट्यूड एंड स्टेट ऑफ माइंड दैट डिटरमाइन द रिजल्ट्स. देखो एटीट्यूड क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट है कि अगर आपका सही फ्रेम ऑफ माइंड नहीं है, सही थॉट प्रोसेस नहीं है, तो आप ट्रेड लेने से पहले डर जाओगे और उस टाइम ट्रेड लोगे ही नहीं कि कहीं मुझे लॉस ना हो जाए. to provide the trader with specific beliefs and attitudes that are necessary to build a winner's mindset, which means learning how to think in probabilities. हमें probabilities में सोचना है. ये trading पूरा एक probability का game है. To address the conflicts, contradictions, and paradoxes in thinking that cause the typical trader to assume that he already does think in probabilities when he really doesn't. हमें लगता है कि हम probabilities में सोच रहे हैं, but actually में नहीं सोचते हैं. To take the trader through a process that integrates this thinking strategy into this mental system at a functional level. तो बेसिकली ये सारी चीज़ें आपको इस बुक से सीखने को मिलेंगी, ये सारे पॉइंट्स जो ट्रेडर बता रहे हैं. Trading in the zone presents a serious psychological approach to become a consistent winner in your trading. I do not offer a trading system. I am more interested in showing how to think in the way necessary to become a profitable trader. एक profitable trader की thinking कैसी होनी चाहिए, ये इस book में बताई गई है. I assume that you already have your own system, your own edge. You must learn to trust your edge. The edge means there is a higher probability of one outcome than another. The greater your confidence, the easier it will be to execute your trades. मतलब जितना ज़्यादा आपको अपने ऊपर कॉन्फिडेंस होगा उतने अच्छे से आप अपना ट्रेड कर पाओगे. दिस बुक इज डिजाइन्ड to give you the insight and understanding you need about yourself and the nature of trading, so that actually doing it becomes as easy, simple and stress free as when you're just watching the market and thinking about doing it. मतलब stress से आपको निकलना पड़ेगा बाहर. In order to determine how well you think like a trader, take the following survey. There are no right or wrong answers. Your answers are indication of how consistent your current mental framework in the way you need to think in order to get the most out of your trading. देखो ये सर्वे तो हम स्किप करेंगे क्योंकि इस सर्वे का ज़्यादा कुछ लेना देना नहीं है. इसमें यही बताया गया है कि आपको क्या लगता है कि मार्केट क्या करेगा. जैसे कुछ मैं पॉइंट्स बता देता हूँ. टू मेक मनी एज ए ट्रेडर यू हैव टू नो व्हाट द मार्केट इज़ गोइंग टू डू नेक्स्ट. क्या आपको एज ए ट्रेडर आपको पता होना चाहिए कि मार्केट क्या करने वाला है आगे, तभी आप पैसा बना पाओगे. अग्री और डिसएग्री. अब इसमें बहुत सारे लोगों को लगता है कि हाँ हमें पता होना चाहिए कि मार्केट क्या करने वाला है तभी तो हम अपनी पोजीशन लेंगे, बट एक्चुअली में ये सही नहीं है. ऐसी बहुत सारे इसमें हैं जो आप पॉज करके भी देख सकते हो. जैसे समटाइम्स आई फाइंड माई सेल्फ थिंकिंग दैट देयर मस्ट बी अ वे टू ट्रेड विदाउट हैविंग टू टेक अ लॉस. इसमें आप अग्री करोगे डिसएग्री. देखो लॉस तो होना ही है. लॉस इज पार्ट ऑफ द गेम. लॉस आपको होगा ही होगा. अगर आप ये सोच रहे हो कि 100% आपको लॉस ना हो, पॉसिबल नहीं है. मेकिंग मनी, और हम सारे इसी भी कोशिश में रहते हैं कि हम लॉस को कैसे अवॉइड करो. आप लॉस को अवॉइड नहीं कर सकते. आप अपना लॉस को फिक्स कर सकते हो कि किसी भी ट्रेड में ये मेरा इससे ज़्यादा लॉस नहीं होना चाहिए. मेकिंग मनी एज ए ट्रेडर इज प्राइमरली ए फंक्शन ऑफ एनालिसिस. लॉसेस आर अनअवॉइडेबल कंपोनेंट ऑफ ट्रेडिंग. My risk is always defined before I enter a trade. Agree or disagree? Of course आपका risk define होना चाहिए पहले से enter करने के लिए. In my mind there is always a cost associated with finding out what the market may do next. I wouldn't even bother putting on the next trade if I wasn't sure that it was going to be winner. अब यही दिक्कत आती है. हम ट्रेड में एंटर करने से पहले अपने आप को इतना श्योर करना चाहते हैं कि हम ये ट्रेड सक्सेसफुल होगा. पहली बात तो आपको पता ही नहीं है कि जो अगला ट्रेड आपने लेने वाले वो सक्सेसफुल होने वाला है. क्योंकि अगर आपको पता होता कि ये ट्रेड सक्सेसफुल होने वाला है, अगर किसी को भी 100% श्योरिटी है तो अपना सारा पैसा नहीं लगा देता. हम क्यों नहीं लगाते अपना सारा पैसा? क्योंकि हमें पता है कि वो ट्रेड रॉन्ग हो सकता है. I wouldn't even bother putting on the next trade if I wasn't sure that it was going to be winner. ये उसी का उल्टा है. क्योंकि अगर आपको पता ही नहीं है कि आपका ट्रेड सक्सेसफुल नहीं होने वाला है तो आप फिर ट्रेड ले क्यों रहे हो. इसीलिए कहते हैं ये प्रोबेबिलिटी का गेम है. The more a trader learns about the market and how they behave, the easier it will be for him to execute his trades. जितना ज़्यादा आप मार्केट को सीखोगे उतना अच्छे से आप ट्रेड को कर पाओगे. एक्चुअली ये उल्टा है. जितना आप अपने आप को अच्छे से जानोगे उतने अच्छे से आप अपने ट्रेडिंग को कर पाओगे. माई मैथोडोलॉजी ट्रील्स मी एग्जैक्टली अंडर द वॉट मार्केट कंडीशन टू ईदर एंटर और एग्जिट अ ट्रेड. ये ऑफकोर्स आपका जो सिस्टम बना होना चाहिए वो ऐसा बना होना चाहिए कि आपके रूल्स पहले से ही डिफाइंड हो. Number 10. Even when I have a clear signal to reverse my position, I find it extremely difficult to do. यही सबसे ज़्यादा लोगों को दिक्कत आती है. उनको दिख रहा है कि मार्केट उनके पोजीशन से अगेंस्ट जा रही है. अगर उन्होंने बाई किया हुआ है मार्केट गिर रही है, लेकिन वो अपनी पोजीशन से एग्जिट नहीं कर पाते. यहीं पे प्रॉब्लम हो जाती है. आई हैव सस्टेन्ड पीरियड्स ऑफ कंसिस्टेंट सक्सेस यूजली फॉलोड बाय सम फेयरली ड्रास्टिक डाउन। ये सबके साथ होता है कि किसी महीने तो उनको बहुत अच्छा प्रॉफिट होता है, फिर अगले महीने वो अपने 3-4 महीने का प्रॉफिट एक बार में गंवा देते हैं। तो ये कंसिस्टेंसी कैसे आएगी, ये हम आगे देखेंगे। When I first started trading, I would describe my trading methodology as haphazard, meaning some success in between a lot of pain. मतलब कभी कभार हमें सक्सेस मिल गई और बाकी टाइम तो लॉस ही हो रहा है। I often find myself feeling that markets are against me personally. हमें सबको ये लगता है कि यार मार्केट हमसे ही दुश्मनी निकाल रही है। As much as I try to let go, I find it very difficult to put past emotional wounds behind me. मतलब पीछे के जो लॉसेस से जिसको हम इमोशनली इतने अटैच हो गए हैं वो हमारी यादों में बसा हुआ है, और जब भी हम कोई ट्रेड लेने जाते हैं तो वो हमें पूरा एकदम मतलब छोड़ता नहीं है और जकड़ के रखा हुआ है। I have a money management philosophy that is founded in the principle of always taking some money out of the market when the market makes it available. ये बहुत ज़रूरी है गाइस। लोगों को क्या लगता है कि मार्केट अब चलनी शुरू हुई तो अब ये जाएगी चांद तक, ऐसा नहीं होता है। आपको पार्शली प्रॉफिट बुक करना होता है। मेरा तो भाई सिंपल सा रूल है कि जितना मैंने स्टॉप लॉस लग लिया है, मान लो अगर 1000 रुपये का स्टॉप लॉस है तो मेरा 30% जो है वो मैं निकाल देता हूँ पहले ही। जैसे अगर 1000 रुपये का मेरा प्रॉफिट हो, स्टॉप लॉस है, तो 1000 रुपये पे मैं मेरा 30% निकालता हूँ। रेस्ट का मैं निकालता हूँ 3000 और ऐसे 5000 पे ऐसे निकालता हूँ। 1:3 1:2 के बीच का मेरा रहता है। A trader's job is to identify patterns in the market behavior that represent an opportunity and then to determine the risk of finding out if these patterns will play themselves out as they have in the past. मतलब आपको पैटर्न समझना है अपने सपोर्ट एंड रेजिस्टेंस के आसपास, और उस पैटर्न के हिसाब से अगर आपको काम करना आता है तो ही आप सक्सेसफुल हो सकते हो। अग्री या डिसएग्री, ये सब आपको बुक पढ़ने के बाद ये सर्वे वापस एक बार लास्ट में एक बार और दिया हुआ है, तो आपके जो कन्फ्यूज़न है वो क्लियर हो जाएंगे। समटाइम्स आई जस्ट कांट हेल्प फीलिंग दैट आई एम अ विक्टिम ऑफ मार्केट। हम सबको ये लगता है जब हमें कभी ट्रेडिंग में लॉसेज होते हैं लगातार 2-3, तो हमें लगता है कि भाई मार्केट ने तो हमारे साथ ही दुश्मनी निकाल रही है और हम ही विक्टिम है। When I trade, I usually try to stay focused in one time frame. देखो सिर्फ एक टाइम फ्रेम पे आपको नहीं देखना है, आपको बड़े टाइम फ्रेम से भी देखना होता है कि क्या मार्केट में चल रहा है। ट्रेडिंग सक्सेसफुली रिक्वायर्स अ डिग्री ऑफ मेंटल फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी फार बियॉन्ड द स्कोप ऑफ मोस्ट पीपल। ऐसा ज़रूरी नहीं है, लोगों को लगता है कि हमारे हमारे से नहीं होगा, लेकिन आप अपने आप को उस तरीके से बना सकते हो। There are times when I can definitely feel the flow of market, however I often have difficulty acting on these feelings. ये बात सही है कि बहुत सारे लोगों को फीलिंग्स पे ही अपने कंट्रोल नहीं रहता। There are many times when I am in profitable trade and I know the move is basically over but I still won't take my profit. यहाँ पे बहुत सारे लोग गलती करते हैं क्योंकि क्या है, उनको पीछे के जो लॉसेस हैं वो इतने बड़े बड़े थे कि जब प्रॉफिट आ रहा होता है तो उस प्रॉफिट को कवर नहीं कर पाते क्योंकि उनके लॉस इतने बड़े हैं। इसीलिए ज़रूरी है कि अगर आपको 1000 रुपये के एवरेज लॉस हो रहा है, आप जर्नल बनाओ और देखो कि पिछले के 30-40 जो ट्रेड्स हैं उसमें आपको लॉस हो रहा है या प्रॉफिट हो रहा है, और उन एवरेज लॉसेस जो है वो 1000 के आसपास है, तो जो प्रॉफिट है वो 2000-3000 पे आपको बुक करना है। No matter how much money I make in a trade, I am rarely ever satisfied and I feel that I could have made more. ये सबके साथ होता है यार, ये आप इसके सोचना छोड़ो, आप बस ये समझो, इस पे फोकस करो जो मैं बार बार आपको बोल रहा हूँ, रिस्क टू रिवॉर्ड। आपका 1000 का लॉस है तो 2500-3000 का प्रॉफिट निकालो मार्केट से और उसमें सेटिस्फाई होना सीखो। अगर आपको सेटिस्फैक्शन नहीं आएगा ना तो कभी भी आप ट्रेडर सक्सेसफुल नहीं बन सकते। When I put on a trade, I feel I have a positive attitude. I anticipate all of the money I could make from the trade in a positive way. प्रॉब्लम यही है कि जब हम ट्रेड लगाते हैं, हमारा जो लगता है कि हम आज इस ट्रेड से सारे पैसे बना देंगे। देखो ना, तो आपको कोई पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड होना चाहिए ना नेगेटिव होना चाहिए, एकदम आपको न्यूट्रल पर्सपेक्टिव से काम करना है। ट्रेड सक्सेसफुल हुआ तो आपको बहुत खुश होने नहीं है, और ट्रेड अगर लॉस हो गया तो आपको उससे भी दिल पे नहीं लगाना। द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट इन ट्रेडर्स एबिलिटीज टू एक्यूमुलेट मनी ओवर टाइम इज हैविंग अ बिलीफ इज ओन कंसिस्टेंसी। ये बहुत सही है कि आपको अपने ऊपर अगर बिलीफ नहीं है तो दिक्कत आएगी। इफ़ यू आर ग्रांटेड अ विश टू बी एबल टू इंस्टेंटेनियसली एक्वायर वन ट्रेडिंग स्किल, व्हाट स्किल वुड यू चूज? ये क्वेश्चन है। ऑब्वियसली इमोशन कंट्रोल सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है। अगर आपको अपने इमोशंस पे कंट्रोल है, आप प्रोसेस, इसीलिए आजकल लोग एल्गो ट्रेडिंग में क्यों जा रहे हैं, क्योंकि उनके अपने इमोशंस पे कंट्रोल नहीं है। एल्गो ट्रेडिंग में क्या होता है, उन्होंने एक सिस्टम लगा दिया और ट्रेड अपने आप चल रहा है। आई ऑफन स्पेंड स्लीपलेस नाइट वरिंग अबाउट द मार्केट। भाई ये तो आपको इसीलिए होता है क्योंकि आपकी पोजीशन इतनी बड़ी होती है एंड आप गलत पोजीशन ले लेते हो, न्यूज़ देख के ले लेते हो। अगर आपको अपने सिस्टम पे भरोसा है, आपको पता है कि आपने सही बैक टेस्ट किया हुआ है डेटा, और आपको अपनी प्रोबेबिलिटीज़ पे भरोसा है, तो आपको कभी भी दिक्कत नहीं आएगी। डू एवर फील कंपेल्ड टू मेक अ ट्रेड बिकॉज यू आर अफ्रेड दैट यू माइट मिस आउट? ये बहुत होता है यार, लोगों को दिखता है कि मार्केट अचानक से शूट आउट हुई, अब उनको ट्रेड में घुसना ही घुसना है। यार आप सही टाइम का वेट करो और सही अपॉर्चुनिटी का वेट करो, तब आप ट्रेड लो। Although it doesn't happen very often, I really like my trades to be perfect. When I make a perfect call, it feels so good that it makes up for all of the times that I don't. यही गलती, ये नहीं होना चाहिए। आपको देखो, परफेक्ट तो आप हो नहीं सकते, ठीक है। हाँ, जब आप सही होगे तो आप मैक्सिमम अपना बेस्ट देने की कोशिश करो। एंड जब आपको लॉसेस हो रहे हैं तो लॉसेस आप ये सोचो कि पार्ट ऑफ द गेम है। Do you ever find yourself planning trades you never execute and execute trades you never planned? यार इसीलिए कहा था प्लान योर ट्रेड्स एंड ट्रेड द प्लान। पहले से आप लेकर चलो कि आज मुझे करना क्या है, उसके अलावा आपको कुछ नहीं करना, आप पहले से प्लानिंग करके चलो। अदरवाइज मार्केट ऐसी मूव्स देगा कि आप सोच भी नहीं सकते। तो ये एटीट्यूड सर्विस को हम आगे करेंगे, एक्नॉलेजमेंट को स्किप करेंगे, आगे चलते हैं। अब आते हैं हम चैप्टर 1 पे, और यहाँ से हमारी पहली बुक जो है, आप सोच रहे होगे कि बुक ही भी शुरू नहीं हुई, यहाँ से बुक शुरू होगी चैप्टर 1 से। चैप्टर 1, द रोड टू सक्सेस, फंडामेंटल, टेक्निकल और मेंटल एनालिसिस। मतलब क्या ज़रूरी है, आप फंडामेंटल एनालिसिस पे बिलीव करते हो, टेक्निकल एनालिसिस या मेंटल एनालिसिस? मेरी ट्रेडिंग तो भाई टेक्निकल एंड मेंटल एनालिसिस दोनों को मिलाकर है, फंडामेंटल से कोई मेरा लेना देना नहीं है, पर फिर भी एक इंट्रोडक्शन फंडामेंटल एनालिसिस का ऑथर ने दिया है। Who remembers when fundamental analysis was considered the only real or proper way to make trading decisions? मतलब एक टाइम था करीब 1980s में, अमेरिका की बात कर रहे हैं, जो ऑथर है वो अमेरिका का है, तो वहाँ पर फंडामेंटल एनालिसिस पे बहुत फोकस था कि कंपनी का प्रॉफिट कैसा है, कंपनी कैसी है, उसका मैनेजमेंट कैसा है, और उसके जो रिजल्ट्स आ रहे हैं क्वार्टरली वो कैसे रह रहे हैं। When I started trading in 1978, technical analysis was used by only a handful of traders who were considered by the rest of the market community to be at the very least crazy. As difficult as it is to believe now, it wasn't very long ago when Wall Street and most of the major funds and financial institutions thought that technical analysis was some form of mystical hocus pocus. मतलब कोई भी चीज़ जब नए फर्स्ट टाइम आती है तो लोगों को यही लगता है ना कि भाई ये क्या है, मतलब कुछ तो इसमें स्कैम है या ये तो बेकार ही है। नाउ ऑफ कोर्स जस्ट द अपोजिट इज ट्रू। अब लोग टेक्निकल एनालिसिस पे लोगों को इतना भरोसा है कि फंडामेंटल एनालिसिस लोगों को होकस पोकस लगता है। Almost all experienced traders use some form of technical analysis to help them formulate their trading strategies. Except for some small isolated pockets in the academic community, the purely fundamental analyst is virtually extinct. What caused this dramatic shift in perspective? I'm sure it's no surprise to anyone that the answer to this question is very simple: money. The problem with making trading decisions from a strictly fundamental perspective is the inherent difficulty of making money consistently using this approach. For those of you who may not be familiar with fundamental analysis, let me explain. Fundamental analysis attempts to take into consideration all the variables that could affect the relative balance or imbalance between the supply and the possible demand for any particular stock, commodity, or financial instrument. Using primarily mathematical models that weigh the significance of a variety of factors, the analyst projects what the price should be at some point in the future. The problem with these models is that they rarely, if ever, factor in other traders as variables. People expressing their beliefs and expectations about the future make prices move, not models. The fact that a model makes a logical and reasonable projection based on all the relevant variables is not much of value if the traders who are responsible for most of the trading volume are not aware of the model or don't believe in it. मतलब ऑथर यहाँ पे ये कहना चाह रहे हैं कि ट्रेडर्स मार्केट को मूव करते हैं, ना कि फंडामेंटल्स। अगर बहुत सारे लोग किसी स्टॉक को खरीदने लग जाएंगे तो ऑब्वियसली जो ट्रेड है वो सही हो जाएगा और मार्केट ऊपर जाएगी। As a matter of fact, many traders, especially those on the floors of the future exchange who have the ability to move prices very dramatically in one direction or the other usually don't have the slightest concept of the fundamental supply and demand factors that are supposed to affect prices. Furthermore, at any given moment, much of the trading activity is prompted by a response to emotional factors that are completely outside the parameters of the fundamental model. In other words, the people who trade don't always act in a rational manner. मतलब मार्केट कई बार ना बिना लॉजिक के मूव करती है, ये नहीं पता होना चाहिए, मतलब इससे फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता कि कंपनी प्रॉफिटेबल है। आप टाटा मोटर्स का एग्जांपल देख लो, कितना नीचे आ गया ऊपर से, कोई लॉजिक है? कुछ भी हो, सेंटिमेंट पे मार्केट चलती है, और ये सब सेंटिमेंट्स लोगों के जो सेंटिमेंट है, लोग उस टाइम पे कैसा सोच रहे हैं, अगर वो सारे पैनिक में है तो मार्केट गिरेगी ही गिरेगी, कितने भी अच्छे फंडामेंटल्स हो। ये चीज़ समझने वाली है। अल्टीमेटली द फंडामेंटल एनालिस्ट could find that a prediction about where prices should be at some point in the future is correct. But in the meantime, price movement could be so volatile that it would be very difficult if not impossible to stay in a trade to order to realize the objective. मतलब मार्केट में ठीक है, कंपनी के फंडामेंटल सही है और मार्केट इन दी एंड ऊपर चली जाएगी, लेकिन आपको इतना इमोशनली अनस्टेबल कर देगी क्योंकि इतनी वॉलेटाइल होगी मार्केट, इतनी नीचे जाएगी कि आप पैनिक में आ जाओगे या फिर आप लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टर बन जाओगे। स्विंग ट्रेडिंग तो पॉसिबल ही नहीं है। आप मंथ का भी नहीं सोच सकते, आपको 4-5 साल का व्यू लेके रखना पड़ेगा, तब आपके लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टर बन सकते हो। इसीलिए क्या हुआ, द शिफ्ट टू टेक्निकल एनालिसिस। फाइनली लोगों को ये बात समझ आई और लोग फिर टेक्निकल एनालिसिस पे शिफ्ट हुए। Technical analysis has been around for as long as there have been organized market in the form of exchanges. But the trading community didn't accept technical analysis as a viable tool for making money until the late 1970s or early 80s. Here is what technical analysts knew that it took the mainstream market community generations to catch on. मतलब काफ़ी टाइम तक जो टेक्निकल एनालिसिस है उसको नहीं माना गया, और 1970 1980s में इंडिया में तो अभी भी इतना लोग नहीं मानते, पर यूएस की बात करें, सोचो अभी यूएस से कितने पीछे हैं। A finite number of traders participate in the markets on any given day, week or month. Many of these traders do the same lands of things over and over in their attempt to make money. In other words, individuals develop behavior patterns, and a group of individuals interacting with one another on a consistent basis form a collective behavior patterns. आप जो मार्केट में वेव्स देखते हो, स्विंग्स देखते हो, हाइज एंड लोज जो फॉर्म होते हैं, वो पैटर्न्स क्या है? वो मार्केट का बिहेवियर है, वो लोगों का बिहेवियर है। जो लोग मार्केट में लगातार काम कर रहे हैं उनके बिहेवियर से एक पैटर्न फॉर्म होता है। These patterns are observable and quantifiable, and they repeat themselves with statistical reliability. Technical analysis is a method that organizes this collective behavior into identifiable patterns that can give a clear indication of when there is a greater probability of one thing happening over another. टेक्निकल एनालिसिस आपको इन्हीं पैटर्न्स में एक सेंस देती है कि आपको कब बाई करना है, कब सेल करना है। इन अ सेंस, technical analysis allows you to get into the mind of the market to anticipate what's likely to happen next based on the kind of patterns the market generated at some previous moment. मतलब पहले जो हुआ है उन सब के बेसिस पे टेक्निकल एनालिसिस बेस्ड होता है। As a method for projecting future price movement, technical analysis had turned out to be far superior to a purely fundamental approach. It keeps the trader focused on what the market is doing now in the relation to what it has done in the past, instead of focusing on what the market should be doing based solely on what is logical and reasonable. Logic or reasons market में काम नहीं करते. On the other hand, fundamental analysis creates what I call a reality gap between what should be and what is. The reality gap makes it extremely difficult to make anything but very long-term predictions that can be difficult to exploit even if they are correct. In contrast, technical analysis not only closes this reality gap but also makes available to the trader a virtually unlimited number of possibilities to take advantage of. The technical approach opens up many more possibilities because it identifies how the same repeatable behavior patterns occur in every time frame, moment to moment, daily, weekly, yearly, and every time span in between. In other words, technical analysis turns the market into an endless stream of opportunities to enrich oneself. द शिफ्ट टू मेंटल एनालिसिस। अब क्या हुआ, फंडामेंटल से लोग टेक्निकल एनालिसिस पे आए, लेकिन उसके बाद भी काफ़ी लोगों को दिक्कत आई और वो सक्सेसफुल नहीं हो पाए। तो उनको फिर अपने मेंटल एनालिसिस पे काम करना है, और इसीलिए जो ऑथर है आगे बता रहे हैं, if technical analysis works so well, why would more and more of the trading community shift their focus from technical analysis of the market to mental analysis of themselves, meaning their own individual trading psychology? To answer this question, you probably don't have to do anything more but then ask yourself why you bought this book. The most likely reason is that you are dissatisfied with the difference between what you perceive as the unlimited potential to make money and what you end up with on the bottom line. That's the problem with technical analysis, if you want to call it a problem. Once you learn to identify patterns and read the market, you find there are limitless opportunities to make money. But as I am sure you already know, there can also be a huge gap between what you understand about the markets and your ability to transform that knowledge into consistent profits or a steadily rising equity curve. मतलब consistent profit नहीं हो पा रहा, हम technical analysis में भी हमें consistent profit नहीं हो पा रहा. Think about the number of times you have looked at a price chart and you said to yourself, it looks like the market is going up, and what you thought was going to happen actually happened. But you did nothing except watch the market move while you anguished over all the money you could have made. मतलब आप देखते हो चार्ट पे कि हाँ यहाँ से लग रहा है कि मार्केट ऊपर जाएगी, और मार्केट ऊपर चली भी जाती है, जैसा आपने सोचा था वैसा ही हुआ, लेकिन मार्केट आपके बगैर जा रही होती क्योंकि आप सिर्फ साइड में बैठकर वॉच कर रहे होते हो. So, there is a big difference between predicting that something will happen in the market and thinking about all the money you could have made and the reality of actually getting into and out of trades. I call this difference and others like it as a psychological gap that can make trading one of the most difficult endeavors you could choose to undertake and certainly one of the most mysterious to master. मतलब प्रिडिक्ट करना तो बड़ा इजी है, लेकिन एक्चुअल ट्रेड लेना वो बहुत मुश्किल है. जैसे आप टीवी पे भी देखते रहते होगे, लोग बोलते हैं यहाँ खरीद लो, वहाँ बेच दो, आज हमने बोला था ये कर दो वो कर दो. द बिग क्वेश्चन इज, कैन ट्रेडिंग बी मास्टर्ड? Is it possible to experience trading with the same ease and simplicity implied when you're only watching the market and thinking about success as opposed to actually having to put on and take off trades? Not only the answer is yes, but that's also exactly what this book is designed to give you, the insight and understanding you need about yourself, about the nature of trading. So the result is that actually doing it becomes as easy, simple, and stress free as when you're just watching the market and thinking about doing it. This may seem like a tall order, and to some of you it may even seem impossible, but it is not. There are people who have mastered the art of trading, who have closed the gap between the possibilities available and their bottom line performance. But as you might expect, these winners are relatively few in numbers compared with the number of traders who experienced varying degree of frustration all the way to extreme exasperation, wondering why they can't create the consistent success they so desperately desire. In fact, the difference between these two groups of traders, the consistent winners and everyone else, are analogous to the difference between Earth and the Moon. The Earth and Moon are both celestial bodies that exist in the same solar system, so they do have something in common, but they are different in nature and characteristics as night and day. By the same token, anyone who puts on a trade can claim to be a trader. मतलब कोई भी ट्रेड डाल रहा है तो ट्रेडर अपने आप को बोल सकता है. But when you compare the characteristic of the handful of consistent winners with characteristic of most other traders, you will find they are also as different as night and day. If going to the moon represents consistent success as a trader, we can say that getting to the moon is possible. The journey is extremely difficult and only a handful of people have made it. From our perspective here on Earth, the moon is usually visible every night and it seems so close that we could just reach out and touch it. मतलब हमें लगता है कि अगर आप रात को देखो तो मून कितना नज़दीक दिखता है. सारे ट्रेडर्स की यही कहानी है. उनको लगता है कि बस अब हम सक्सेसफुल हो ही जाएंगे, लेकिन ना, इजी है नहीं. ट्रेडिंग सक्सेसफुली फील्स द सेम वे. On any given day, week or month, the markets make available vast amounts of money to anyone who has the capacity to put on a trade. Since the markets are in constant motion, this money is also constantly flowing, which makes the possibilities for success and greatly magnified and seemingly within your grasp. I use the word seemingly to make an important distinction between the two group of traders. For those who have learned how to be consistent or have broken through what I call the threshold of consistency, the money is not only within their grasp, they can virtually take it at will. I am sure that some will find this statement shocking or difficult to believe, but it is true. There are some limitations, but for the most part, money flows into the account of these traders with such ease and effortlessness that it literally boggles most people's mind. मतलब ट्रेडिंग इतनी इजी है कुछ लोगों के लिए कि जो लोग सक्सेसफुल नहीं है वो लोग सोचते हैं कि ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है, इतनी इजी कैसे है इन लोगों के लिए. However, for the traders who have not evolved into this select group, the word seemingly means exactly what it implies. It seems as if the consistency or the ultimate success they desire is at hand or within their grasp just before it slips away or evaporates before their eyes time and time again. The only thing about trading is that consistent within group is emotional pain. Yes, they certainly have moments of elation, but it is not an exaggeration to say that most of the time they are in state of fear, anger, frustration, anxiety, disappointment, betrayal and regret. So what separates these two groups of traders? Is it intelligence? Are they consistent winners just plain smarter than everyone else? Do they work harder? Are they better analysts or do they have access to better trading systems? Do they possess inherent personality characteristics that make it easier for them to deal with the intense pressure of trading? All of these possibilities sound quite plausible except when you consider that most of the trading industry's failures are also some of the society's brightest and most accomplished people. The largest group of consistent losers is composed primarily of doctors, lawyers, engineers, scientists, CEOs, wealthy retirees and entrepreneurs. मतलब वो लोग ज़्यादातर ट्रेडिंग में बड़े बड़े फेलियर्स होते हैं जो लोग सोसाइटी के बड़े बड़े सीईओज लॉयर्स इंजीनियर जो अपने फील्ड में काफ़ी एक्सेल किया लेकिन जब वो ट्रेडिंग में आए वो फेल कर गए. Furthermore, most of the industry's best market analysts are the worst traders imaginable. Intelligence and good market analysis can be the road to success, certainly contribute to success, but they are not the defining factors that separate the consistent winners from everyone else. Well, if it isn't intelligence or better analysis, then what could it be? अगर इंटेलिजेंस नहीं है द रियल फैक्टर या एनालिसिस भी नहीं है तो आखिर क्या है जिसकी वजह से ट्रेडर सक्सेसफुल हो सकते हैं. Having worked with some of the best and some of the worst traders in the business and having helped some of the worst become some of the best, I can state without a doubt that there are specific reasons why the best traders consistently outperform everyone else. If I had to distill all the reasons down to one, I would simply say that the best traders think differently from the rest. एक लाइन में बताना है तो सिर्फ ये कह सकते हैं कि जो बेस्ट ट्रेडर्स होते हैं वो उनकी थिंकिंग का जो प्रोसेस है वो बाकियों से डिफरेंट है. I know that doesn't sound very profound, but it does not have profound implications if you consider what it means to think differently. To one degree or another, all of us think differently from everyone else. We may not always be mindful of this fact. It seems natural to assume that other people share our perceptions and interpretations of the events. In fact, this assumption continues to seem valid until we find ourselves in a basic, fundamental disagreement with someone about something we both experienced. Other than our physical features, the way we think is what makes us unique, probably even more unique than our physical features too. Let's get back to traders. What is the different about die way the best traders think as opposed to how those who are still struggling think? जो सक्सेसफुल ट्रेडर्स हैं उनकी थॉट प्रोसेस क्या होती है ये बताने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं ऑथर. While the markets can be described as an arena of endless opportunities, they simultaneously confront the individual with some of the most sustained adverse psychological conditions you can expose yourself to. At some point, everyone who trades learns something about the markets that will indicate when opportunities exist. But learning how to identify an opportunity to buy or sell does not mean that you have learned to think like a trader. मतलब सिर्फ ये जान जाना कि कहाँ पे बाई करना और कहाँ पे सेल करना काफ़ी नहीं है एक सक्सेसफुल ट्रेडर बनने के लिए. The defining characteristics that separates the consistent winners from everyone else is this: the winners have attained a mindset, a unique set of attitudes that allows them to remain disciplined, focused, and above all, confident in spite of the adverse conditions. As a result, they are no longer susceptible to the common fears and trading errors that plague everyone else. Everyone who trades ends up learning something about the markets. Very few people who trade ever learn the attitudes that are absolutely essential to becoming a consistent winner. Just as people can learn to perfect the proper technique from swinging a golf club or tennis racket, their consistency or lack of it will without a doubt come from their attitude. Traders who make it beyond the threshold of consistency usually experience a great deal of pain before they acquire the land of attitude that allows them to function effectively in the market environment. मतलब सबको एक पेन के प्रोसेस के थ्रू गुजरना पड़ता है. जैसे कोई भी एक क्रिकेटर या कोई भी एक स्पोर्ट्समैन हो, उन सबको प्रैक्टिस के दौरान होता है. The rare exceptions are usually those who were born into successful trading families or who started their trading careers under the guidance of someone who understood the true nature of trading and, just as important, knew how to teach it. Why are emotional pain and financial disaster common among traders? The simple answer is that most of us weren't fortunate enough to start our trading careers with the proper guidance. मतलब हम सबको ट्रेडिंग गाइडेंस मिली नहीं, कोई गाइड करने वाला नहीं, इसी वजह से काफ़ी हमें पेन झेलना पड़ता है. However, the reasons go much deeper than this. I have spent the last 17 years dissecting the psychological dynamics behind trading so that I could develop effective methods for teaching the principles of success. What I have discovered is that trading is chock full of paradoxes and contradictions in thinking that is extremely difficult to learn how to be successful. In fact, if I had to choose one word that says the nature of trading, it would be paradox. According to a dictionary, a paradox is something that seems to have contradictory qualities or that is contrary to common belief of what generally makes sense to people. मतलब पैराडॉक्स का बता रहे हैं कि पैराडॉक्स क्या होता है कि जो लोगों को सेंस लगे कि हाँ इसमें कुछ सेंस बनता है, उसके सारी चीज़ें अगेंस्ट हो जाएं, उसको बोलते हैं पैराडॉक्स. Financial and emotional disasters are common among traders because many of the perspectives, attitudes, and principles that would otherwise make perfect sense and work quite well in our daily lives have the opposite effect in trading environment. They just don't work. Not knowing this, most traders start their career with fundamental lack of understanding of what it means to be a trader, the skills that are involved, and the depth of which those skills need to be developed. मतलब ट्रेडिंग में जब लोग आते हैं उनको इस बात का अंदाज़ा नहीं होता कि क्या क्या स्किल लोगों को ज़रूरी है मार्केट में सक्सेसफुल होने के लिए. Here is a prime example of what I am talking about. Trading is inherently risky. To my knowledge, no trade has a guaranteed outcome. Therefore, the possibility of being wrong and losing money is always present. So when you put on a trade, can you consider yourself a risk taker? Even though this may sound like a trick question, it is not. मतलब लोग आप कह सकते हो कि क्या आप एक रिस्क टेकर हो, क्योंकि ट्रेडिंग में श्योरिटी तो है नहीं. तो क्या है इसका लॉजिकल आंसर? The logical answer to the question is yes. If I engage in an activity that is inherently risky, then I must be a risk taker. This is perfectly reasonable assumption for any trader to make. In fact, not only do virtually all traders make this assumption, but most traders take pride in thinking of themselves as risk takers. The problem is that this assumption couldn't be further from the truth. Author बोल रहा है ऐसा नहीं है. Of course, any trader is taking a risk when you put on a trade, but that doesn't mean that you are correspondingly accepting that risk. In other words, all trades are risky because the outcomes are probable, not guaranteed. But do most traders really believe they are taking a risk when they put on a trade? Have they really accepted that the trade has a non-guaranteed probable outcome? Furthermore, have they fully accepted the possible consequences? The answer is no. Most traders have absolutely no concept of what it means to be a risk taker in the way a successful trader thinks about risk. The best trader not only take the risk, they have also learned to accept and embrace that risk. There is a huge psychological gap between assuming you are a risk taker because you put on trades and fully accepting the risk inherent in each trade. When you fully accept the risk, it will have profound implications on your bottom line performance. The best traders can put on a trade without the slightest bit of hesitation or conflict, just as freely and without hesitation or conflict admit it isn't working. They can get out of the trade even with a loss, and doing so doesn't resonate the slightest bit of emotional discomfort. In other words, the risk inherent in trading do not cause the best traders to lose their discipline, focus, or sense of confidence. If you are unable to trade without the slightest bit of emotional discomfort, specifically fear, then you have not learned how to accept the risk inherent in trading. This is a big problem because to whatever degree you have accepted the risk is the same degree to which you will avoid the risk. मतलब रिस्क को आपको एक्सेप्ट करना पड़ेगा. अगर आप रिस्क को अवॉइड करोगे तो आपको दिक्कत आने वाली है. आपको रिस्क को एक्सेप्ट करना है. ट्राइंग टू अवॉइड समथिंग दैट इज अनअवॉइडेबल विल हैव डिजास्टर्स इफेक्ट ऑन योर एबिलिटी टू ट्रेड सक्सेसफुली. ये वैसी है कि आप बैटिंग करने जाओ और आउट होने से अपने आप को बचने की कोशिश करो, बहुत ही ज़्यादा डिफेंसिव हो जाओ, तो क्या होगा? आप आउट हो ही जाओगे. जो इस टाइम पर रोहित शर्मा का हो रहा है, विराट कोहली के साथ हो रहा है. बेसिकली एग्जाम्पल है. क्रिकेट से काफ़ी कुछ मैच करता है. आपको फियरलेस होकर खेलना होता है एंड ट्रेडिंग भी ऑलमोस्ट इसी तरीके से है. Learning to truly accept the risk in any endeavor can be difficult, but it is extremely difficult for traders, especially considering what's at stake. What are we generally most afraid of besides dying or public speaking? Certainly losing money and being wrong both rank close to the top of the list. Admitting we are wrong and losing money to boot can be extremely painful and certainly something to avoid. Yet, as traders, we are confronted with these two possibilities virtually every moment we are in at a trade. Now, you might be saying to yourself, apart from the fact that it hurts so much, it's natural to not to want to be wrong and lose something. Therefore, it's appropriate for me to do whatever I can do to avoid it. I agree with you, but it is also this natural tendency that makes trading, which looks like it should be easy, extremely difficult. इसी को तो पैराडॉक्स कहते हैं. Trading presents us with a fundamental paradox. How do we remain disciplined, focused, and confident in a face of constant uncertainty? When you have learned how to think like a trader, that's exactly what you will be able to do. Learning how to redefine your trading activities in a way that allows you to completely accept the risk is the key to thinking like a successful trader. Learning to accept the risk is a trading skill, the most important skill you can learn. आपको रिस्क को एक्सेप्ट करके चलना होगा कि हाँ मेरे स्टॉप लॉसेस लगेंगे, यस मेरे से ट्रेडिंग में कुछ ऐसी अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ होंगी जो मिस हो जाएंगी, ये सब आपको एक्सेप्ट करके चलना है. Yet it's rare that developing traders focus any attention or spend any effort to learn it. When you learn the trading skill of risk acceptance, the market will not be able to generate information that you define or interpret as painful. If the information that market generates doesn't have the potential to cause you emotional pain, there is nothing to avoid. It is just information telling you what the possibilities are. This is called an objective perspective, one that is not skewed or distorted by what you're afraid is going to happen or not happen. मतलब मार्केट को आपको ऑब्जेक्टिव पर्सपेक्टिव से देखना है, इमोशनलेस होके देखना है, क्योंकि देखो मार्केट नहीं आपको पेन कर रही है, आपके दिमाग में जो बैठा हुआ है वो पेनफुल दे रहा है. आई एम श्योर देयर इजंट वन ट्रेडर रीडिंग दिस बुक हु हैजंट गॉटन इनटू ट्रेड्स टू सून बिफोर द मार्केट हैज एक्चुअली जनरेटेड अ सिग्नल और टू लेट लॉन्ग आफ्टर द मार्केट हैज जनरेटेड अ सिग्नल. कई बार ऐसा होता है मार्केट में अपॉर्चुनिटी निकल चुकी होती है और हम बहुत ही लेट एंटर करते हैं या फिर बहुत ही जल्दी एंटर कर जाते हैं. What trader hasn't convinced himself not to take a loss and as a result has had it turn into a bigger one, or got out of winning trade too soon, or found himself in winning trades but didn't take any profits at all and then let the trades turn into losers, or moved stop losses closer to his entry point only to get stopped out and have the market go back in his direction. तो ऐसा बहुत बार हुआ है लोगों के साथ कि बहुत ही जल्दी घुस जाते हैं जब तक कि अभी मार्केट उस पोजीशन में नहीं पहुंची जहां आपको एंटर करना चाहिए, या फिर बहुत लेट एंटर करते हैं, या लॉस को नहीं काटते हैं और लॉस बड़ा बन जाता है, प्रॉफिट्स को जल्दी बुक कर लेते हैं और फिर रिग्रेट करते हैं पूरे दिन. तो ये सारी चीज़ें हैं जो लोग करते हैं. अब इससे मार्केट का क्या लेना देना है, मार्केट तो एज इट इज़ अपने जगह पे है ना. There are but a few of many error traders perpetuate upon themselves time and time again. These are not market generated errors. यही ऑथर बोल रहे हैं कि ये market generated errors तो है नहीं. These errors do not come from the market. The market is neutral in the sense that it moves and generates information about itself. अब एक information है, अब मार्केट निकल चुकी है, फिर आप लेट एंटर कर रहे हो, तो इसमें मार्केट की क्या गलती है, या फिर मार्केट ने अभी उस जगह पहुंची नहीं है जहां आपको एंटर करना चाहिए और आप पहले ही एंटर कर जा रहे हो, इसमें भी मार्केट की कोई गलती नहीं है. आप पैनिक में फिर एग्जिट करते हो, तो ये पैनिक मार्केट ने तो क्रिएट नहीं किया ना. Movement and information provide each of us with the opportunity to do something, but that's all. The markets don't have any power over the unique way in which each of us perceives and interprets this information or control of the decisions and actions we take as a result. The errors I already mentioned and many more are strictly the result of what I call faulty trading attitudes and perspectives. Faulty attitudes that foster fear instead of trust and confidence. I don't think I could put the difference between the consistent winner and everyone else more simply than this. The best traders aren't afraid. They aren't afraid because they have developed attitudes that give them the greatest degree of mental flexibility to flow in and out of trades based on what the market is telling them about the possibilities from its perspective. At the same time, the best traders have developed attitudes that prevent them from getting reckless. मतलब ट्रेडर्स जो होते हैं ना, बेस्ट ट्रेडर्स, वो उन्होंने एक एटीट्यूड डेवलप किया होता है कि उनको कैसे इन एंड आउट ट्रेड से निकलना है, ये सब वो मतलब मास्टर कर चुके होते हैं. At the same time, the best traders have developed attitudes that prevent them from getting reckless. Everyone else is afraid to some degree or another. When they are not afraid, they have the tendency to become reckless and to create the kind of experience for themselves that will cause them to afraid from that point on. 95% of trading errors you are likely to make causing the money to just evaporate before your eyes will stem from your attitudes about being wrong, losing money, missing out, and leaving money on the table. What I call the 4 primary trading fears. ऑथर ये बता रहे हैं कि ये 4 प्राइमरी ट्रेडिंग फियर्स हैं. पहला कि कहीं मैं गलत तो नहीं हो गया, दूसरा कि मैं पैसे ना लूज़ कर जाऊँ, तीसरा कहीं मिस आउट ना हो जाऊँ, और चौथा कि कहीं मैं जल्दी ना निकल जाऊँ, मतलब पैसा मार्केट में से जल्दी ना निकल जाऊँ. Now you may be saying to yourself, I don't know about this. I have always thought traders should have a healthy fear of the market. Again, this is perfectly logical and reasonable assumption. But when it comes to trading, your fears will act against you in such a way that you will cause the very thing you are afraid of to actually happen. जैसे मैं क्रिकेट का एग्जांपल दिया, अभी आजकल आप देख रहे होगे रोहित शर्मा या विराट कोहली काफ़ी आउट ऑफ फॉर्म चल रहे हैं, और वो जब भी बैटिंग करने जा रहे होते हैं ना, उनको डर यही बैठा होता है कि मैं आउट ना हो जाऊँ, कहीं मैं आउट ना हो जाऊँ, और इसीलिए वो आउट भी हो जाते हैं, क्योंकि फियरलेस क्रिकेट वो खेल नहीं पा रहे। जो वो एक्चुअल है ना, जो नॉर्मल वो क्रिकेट खेलते हैं वो नहीं खेल पा रहे, उनके ऊपर प्रेशर है इतना। तो इसी प्रेशर में अगर आप करोगे तो कभी भी आप ट्रेडिंग में सक्सेसफुल नहीं होगे। बहुत क्रिकेट से मिलता जुलता है। If you are afraid of being wrong, your fear will act upon your perception of market information in such a way that will cause you to something that ends up making you wrong. When you are fearful, no other possibilities exist. You can't perceive other possibilities or act on them properly. Even if you did manage to perceive them, because fear is immobilizing physically, it causes us to freeze or run. Mentally, it causes us to narrow our focus of attention to the object of our fear. जब आप फियर के अंदर ट्रेडिंग करते हो तो आपका दिमाग काम करना बंद हो जाता है और आप डिसीजन सही नहीं ले पाते हो। दिस मीन्स दैट thoughts about other possibilities as well as other available information from the market get blocked. You won't think about all the rational thing you have learned about the market until you are no longer afraid and the event is over. Then you will think to yourself, I knew that. Why didn't I think of it then? Why could I act on it then? बाद में हम रिग्रेट करते हैं कि यार मैंने ऐसा किया होता, वैसा किया होता, उस टाइम मेरा दिमाग क्यों नहीं काम किया, क्योंकि उस टाइम आपका दिमाग सही से चल ही नहीं रहा था, वो फियर के अंदर चल रहा था। It's extremely difficult to perceive that the source of the problem is our own inappropriate attitudes. That what makes fear so insidious. Many of thinking patterns that adversely affect our trading are a function of the natural ways in which we were brought up to think and see the world. These thinking patterns are so deeply ingrained that it really occurs to us that source of our trading difficulties is internal, derived from our state of mind. हम सोच भी नहीं पाते हैं कि यार हम खुद अंदर से कर रहे हैं। Indeed, it seems much more natural to see the source of a problem as external in the market because it feels like the market is causing our pain, frustration and dissatisfaction. हम मार्केट को ब्लेम करते हैं कि मार्केट की वजह से हमें प्रॉब्लम हो रही है. Obviously, these are abstract concepts and certainly not something most traders are going to concern themselves with. Yet, understanding the relationship between beliefs, attitudes, and perception is as fundamental to trading as learning how to serve is to tennis or learning how to swing a club is to a golf. Put another way, understanding and controlling your perception of market information is important only to the extent that you want to achieve consistent results. I say this because there is something else about trading that is as true as this statement I just made. You don't have to know anything about yourself or the market to put on a winning trade, just as you don't have to know the proper way to swing a tennis racket or golf club in order to hit a good shot from time to time. The first time I played golf, I hit several good shots throughout the same game, even though I hadn't learned any particular technique, but my score was still over 120 for 18 holes. Obviously, to improve my overall score, I needed to learn technique. Of course, the same is true for trading. We need technique to achieve consistency. But what technique? This is truly one of the most perplexing aspects of learning how to trade effectively. If we aren't aware of or don't understand how our belief and attitudes affect our perception of market information, it will seem as if it is the market behavior that is causing the pain. As if the market behavior that is causing the lack of consistency. As a result, it would stand to reason that the best way to avoid losses and become consistent would be learn more about the market. हमें लगता है कि हम जितना ज़्यादा मार्केट को सीख लेंगे उतना अच्छा हमें प्रॉफिट हो सकता है. This bit of logic is a trap, but ये एक trap है that almost all traders fall into, and it seems to make perfect sense. But this approach doesn't work. The market simply offers too many, often conflicting variables to consider. Furthermore, there are no limits to the market's behavior. It can do anything at any moment. As a matter of fact, because every person who trades is a market variable, it can be said that any single trader can cause virtually anything to happen. This means that no matter how much you learn about the market's behavior, no matter how brilliant an analyst you become, you will never learn enough to anticipate every possible way the market can make you wrong or cause you to lose money. So if you are afraid of being wrong or losing money, it means you will never learn enough to compensate for the negative effects these fears will have on your ability to be objective and your ability to act without hesitation. In other words, you won't be confident in the face of constant uncertainty. मतलब आप कभी कॉन्फिडेंट ही नहीं हो पाओगे। आपको अगर प्रोबेबिलिटी में सोचना नहीं आएगा ना, तो आप कभी भी कॉन्फिडेंट ही नहीं हो सकते कि कैसे ट्रेडिंग में आपको सक्सेसफुल होना है। द हार्ड कोड रियलिटी ऑफ ट्रेडिंग इज दैट एवरी ट्रेड हैज़ एन अनसर्टेन आउटकम। यार यही एक्सेप्ट करना ही इतना मुश्किल है लोगों के लिए कि ट्रेडिंग का जो आउटकम है वो बहुत ही अनसर्टेन है। ये अगर आप एक्सेप्ट कर लो ना फैक्ट, तो आपकी आधे से ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम तो सॉल्व हो गई। Unless you learn to completely accept the possibility of an uncertain outcome, you will try either consciously or unconsciously to avoid any possibility you define as painful. In the process, you will subject yourself to any number of self-generated costly errors. Now, I am not suggesting that we don't need some form of market analysis or methodology to define opportunities and allow us to recognize them. We certainly do. However, market analysis is not the path to consistent results. मतलब मार्केट की आपको समझ आ गई, कहाँ खरीदना है कहाँ बेचना है और कैसे मार्केट यहाँ से ऊपर जाएगी नीचे जाएगी, लेकिन फिर भी आप सक्सेसफुल नहीं होने वाले। इट विल नॉट सॉल्व द ट्रेडिंग प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएटेड बाय लैक ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस, लैक ऑफ डिसिप्लिन और इम्प्रॉपर फोकस। मतलब अगर आपका फोकस सही नहीं है, आपका डिसिप्लिन नहीं है, कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं है आपका खुद पे, तो इसमें मार्केट एनालिसिस कितनी भी अच्छी है आपकी हो, फिर भी आपको लॉस ही तो होगा। When you operate from the assumption that more or better analysis will create consistency, you will be driven to gather as many market variables as possible into your arsenal of trading tools. But what happens then? You are still disappointed and betrayed by the markets time and time again because of something you didn't see or give enough consideration to. It will feel like you can't trust the market, but the reality is you can't trust yourself. Confidence and fear are contradictory states of mind that both stem from our beliefs and attitudes. To be confident functioning in an environment where you can easily lose more than you intend to risk requires absolute trust in yourself. However, you won't be able to achieve that trust until you have trained your mind to override your natural inclination to think in ways that are counterproductive to be a consistently successful trader. Learning how to analyze the market's behavior is simply not to appreciate the training. You have two choices. You can try to eliminate risk by learning about as many market variables as possible. I call this as a black hole. Or you can learn how to redefine your trading activities in such a way that you truly accept the risk and you are no longer afraid. देखो सारे वेरिएबल्स तो मार्केट के आप नहीं पता कर सकते, इसलिए ज़रूरी ये है कि आप रिस्क को एक्सेप्ट करके चलो। अगर रिस्क को एक्सेप्ट करके चलोगे तो ही आप ट्रेडिंग में सक्सेसफुल हो सकते हो। व्हेन यू हैव अचीव्ड अ स्टेट ऑफ माइंड वेयर यू ट्रूली एक्सेप्ट द रिस्क, you won't have the potential to define and interpret market information in painful ways. When you eliminate the potential to define the market information in painful ways, you also eliminate the tendency to rationalize, hesitate, jump the gun, hope that the market will give you money, or hope that the market will save you from your inability to cut your losses. As long as you are susceptible to the lands of error that are results of rationalizing, justifying, hesitating, hoping, and jumping the gun, you will not be able to trust yourself. If you can't trust yourself to be objective and to always act in your own best interest, achieving consistent result will be next to impossible. Trying to do something that looks so simple may be well the most exasperating thing you will ever attempt to do. The irony is that when you have the appropriate attitude, when you have acquired a trader's mindset and can remain confident in the face of constant uncertainty, trading will be as easy and simple as you probably thought it was when you first started out. So, what is the solution? You will need to learn how to adjust your attitudes and beliefs about trading in such a way that you can trade without the slightest bit of fear, but at the same time keep a framework in place that does not allow you to become reckless. That's exactly what this book is designed to teach you. As you move ahead, I would like to keep something in mind. मतलब ट्रेडर ये कह रहा है कि आपको बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब फियर से बाहर निकलने के बाद रेकलेस भी नहीं हो जाना है। अगर आप रेकलेस हो जाओगे तो भी प्रॉब्लम है, और अगर फियर में होगे तो प्रॉब्लम तो रहेगी। द सक्सेसफुल ट्रेडर दैट यू वांट टू बिकम इज अ फ्यूचर प्रोजेक्शन ऑफ योरसेल्फ दैट यू हैव टू ग्रो इनटू। Growth implies expansion, learning, and creating a new way of expressing yourself. This is true even if you're already a successful trader and are reading this book to become more successful. इसीलिए मैं कहता हूँ कि ये बुक आप जितनी बार पढ़ोगे उतनी बार आपको कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा. Many of the new ways in which you will learn to express yourself will be in direct conflict with the ideas and beliefs you presently hold about the nature of trading. You may or may not already be aware of some of these beliefs. In any case, what you currently hold to be true about the nature of trading will argue to keep things just the way they are in spite of your frustrations and unsatisfying results. These internal arguments are natural. My challenge is this in this book is to help you resolve these arguments as efficiently as possible. Your willingness to consider that other possibilities exist, possibilities that you may not be aware of or may not have given enough consideration to, will obviously make the learning process faster and easier. अब आ गए हम चैप्टर 2 पर. तो चैप्टर 2 काफ़ी इम्पोर्टेंट है गाइस. अभी तक अगर आप पेशेंटली सुन रहे हो ना, तो मतलब है कि आप ट्रेडिंग में एक्सेल करना चाहते हो. काफ़ी अच्छी बात है. तो मेहनत करोगे और अपने ऊपर लगातार काम करोगे तो आप किसी भी चीज़ में सक्सेसफुल हो सकते हो, चाहे ट्रेडिंग हो या कोई भी और हो. तो स्टार्ट करते हैं. द ल्यूर एंड द डेंजर्स ऑफ ट्रेडिंग. इन जनवरी 1994 आई वॉज आस्क्ड टू स्पीक एट अ ट्रेडिंग कॉन्फ्रेंस इन शिकागो स्पॉन्सर्ड बाय फ्यूचर मैगजीन. At one of the luncheons, I happened to be sitting next to an editor for one of the major publishers of book about trading. We are having a lively conversation about why so few people become successful at trading, even people who are otherwise very accomplished. At one point, the editor asked me if a possible explanation of this phenomenon might be that people were getting into trading for the wrong reasons. देखो ये बात सच है. हो सकता है कि ट्रेडिंग में लोग आ रहे हों गलत रीज़न से, उनको पता ही नहीं है कि क्यों ट्रेडिंग में आना है. तो यही ट्रेडर मतलब ऑथर आगे बता रहे हैं. आई हैड टू पॉज फॉर अ मोमेंट टू थिंक अबाउट दिस. आई एग्री दैट मेनी ऑफ दिस टिपिकल रीजंस पीपल आर मोटिवेटेड टू ट्रेड. द एक्शन, euphoria, desire to be a hero, the attention one can draw to himself by winning, or the self-pity that comes from losing create problems that will ultimately detract from a trader's performance and overall success. But the true underlying attraction to trading is far more fundamental and universal. Trading is an activity that offers the individual unlimited freedom of creative expression, a freedom that has been denied most of us for most of our lives. देखो ट्रेडिंग में क्या होता है. ट्रेडिंग हमें एक ऐसी फ्रीडम देता है जिससे हम कोई भी नौकरी कर रहे हो, कोई भी बिजनेस कर रहे हो, वो हमें नहीं मिल पाई. एंड इसी वजह से ट्रेडिंग बहुत सारे लोगों को अट्रैक्ट करता है. Of course, the editor asked me what I meant by this. I explained that in the trading environment, we make almost all of the rules. This means there are very few restrictions or boundaries on how we can choose to express ourselves. Of course, there are some formalities such as having to become a member of an exchange to be a floor trader or meeting the minimum financial requirement to open a brokerage account if you are an off to the floor trader. But otherwise, once you are in a position to start trading, the possibilities that exist for how you go about doing it are virtually limitless. मतलब आप limitless हो जाते हो ना. आपको किसी से ना पूछना है ना पाछना है, कुछ नहीं करना. I went on to give him an example from the seminar I attended several years ago. Someone had calculated that if you combine bond futures, bond options, and the cash bond market, there would be over 8 billion possible spread combinations. Now, add the timing consideration based on how you read the prevailing market conditions, and the various ways to trade become virtually limitless. मतलब आप कैसे भी करके ट्रेड कर सकते हो. The editor paused for a moment and asked, but why would having access to such an unrestricted environment result in fairly consistent failure? I answered, because unlimited possibilities coupled with unlimited freedom to take advantage of these possibilities present the individual with unique and specialized psychological challenges that very few people are properly equipped to deal with or have any awareness for that matter. People can't exactly work on overcoming something if they don't even know it's a problem. The freedom is great. All of us seem to naturally want it, strive it, or even crave it. But that doesn't mean that we have the appropriate psychological resources to operate effectively in an environment that has few, if any, boundaries and where the potential to enormous damage to ourselves exist. मतलब कोई बाउंड्रीज ही नहीं रहती है ना मार्केट की कोई बाउंड्री नहीं है. आप अपने आप को जितना चाहे हर्ट करना चाहे कर सकते हो. कोई ना रोकने वाला है ना कोई पूछने वाला है. Almost everyone needs to make some mental adjustment regardless of their educational background, intelligence or how successful they have been in other endeavors. मतलब आप किसी और फील्ड में कितने भी अच्छे रहे हो लेकिन आपको एडजस्टमेंट करनी पड़ती है. आप ट्रेडिंग में आते हो. The kind of adjustment I am talking about have to do with creating an internal mental structure that provides the trader with greatest degree of balance between the freedom to do anything and the potential that exists to experience both the financial and psychological damage that can be a direct result of that freedom. Creating a mental structure can be difficult enough, especially if what you want to instill is in conflict with what you already believe. But for those of us who want to be traders, the difficulty of creating the appropriate structure is invariably compounded by a backlog of mental structure resistance that starts developing at a very earliest stage of our lives. मतलब ऑथर यहाँ पे ये कह रहे हैं कि जो मेंटल फ्रेमवर्क हमें यहाँ पर चाहिए वो हम जब हम छोटे थे तभी से हमारा एक साइकोलॉजिकल और फाइनेंशियल डैमेज इतना हो चुका होता है कि हम उसको अडाप्ट नहीं कर पाते जो ट्रेडर बनने के लिए चाहिए होता है. ऑल ऑफ अस आर born in some sort of social environment. A social environment, whether it's family, city, state or country, implies that the existence of structure. Social structure consists of rules, restrictions, boundaries and set of beliefs that become a code of behavior that limits the ways in which individuals within that social structure can or cannot express themselves. Furthermore, most of the limitations of social structure were established before we are even born. In other words, by the time any of us get here, most of us, the social structure governing our individual expression is in place and well entrenched. मतलब हमारे आने से पहले ही सोसाइटी में रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस पहले से ही रहते हैं ना और हम उस रूल्स और रेगुलेशंस को फॉलो करते हैं. It's easy to see why a society's need for structure and the individual's need for self-expression can conflict. Every person wants to master the art of trading faces just such a fundamental conflict. I would like you to ask yourself what one characteristic is common to every child born on this planet, regardless of location, culture, or social situation the child is born into. The answer is curiosity. Every child is curious, every child is eager to learn. They can be described as little learning machines. Consider the nature of curiosity. At its most fundamental level, it is a force. More specifically, it is an inner directed force, which means there is no necessity to motivate a child to learn something. Left on their own, children will naturally explore their surroundings. What is more, this inner directed force also seems to have its own agenda. In other words, even though all children are curious, not all children are naturally curious about the same thing. There is something inside each of us that directs our awareness. मतलब सारे बच्चे अलग अलग होते हैं और उनके अंदर क्यूरोसिटी होती है. वो कुछ सीखने के लिए हमेशा वो रहते हैं और ये कोई सिखाता नहीं है, उसके अंदर से ही आता है. ये सारी चीज़ें अभी कनेक्ट होंगी कि ट्रेडिंग से कैसे रिलेटेड अगर आप थोड़ा पेशेंटली इसको समझोगे। इवन infants seem to know what they want and don't want. When adults encounter this unique display of individuality expressed by infant, they are usually surprised. They assume that infants have nothing inside of them that makes them uniquely who they are. How else would infants express their individuality than by what in their environment attracts or repels them? I call this inner directed guidance the force of natural attraction. मतलब ऑथर यहाँ पर ये कह रहे हैं कि ये एक नेचुरल अट्रैक्शन का फॉर्म है, एक फोर्स है जो कि अंदर से ही आता है। Natural attractions are simply those things about which we feel a natural or passionate interest. Ours is a big and diverse world and it offers each of us a great deal to learn about and experience. But that doesn't mean each of us has a natural or passionate interest in learning about or experiencing all there is. There is some internal mechanism that makes us naturally selective. हम सब अलग अलग हैं, ये कहना चाह रहे हैं। If you think about it, I am sure you could list many things to do or be that you have absolutely no interest in. I know I could. You could also make another list of things that you are only marginally interested in. Finally, you could list everything you have a passionate interest in. Of course, the list gets smaller as the interest level rise. Where does passionate interest come from? My personal view is that it comes from the deepest level of our being, at the level of our true identity. It comes from the part of the us that exists beyond the characteristics and personality traits we acquire as a result of our social upbringing. मतलब हमारी अपब्रिंगिंग कैसी है और हम कैसे रह रहे हैं सोसाइटी में, उसी से हमारे इंटरेस्ट और चीज़ें डेवलप होती हैं। अब इन सब के डेंजर्स क्या हैं? It is at the deepest level of our being that the potential for conflict exists. The social structure that we are born into may or may not be sensitive to these inner directed needs and interests. For example, you may have been born in a family of extremely competitive athletes but feel a passionate interest in classical music or art. You may even have a natural athletic ability but no real interest in participating in athletic events. Is there any potential for conflict here? आप किसी मान लो सचिन तेंदुलकर के घर में पैदा हुए हो लेकिन आप नहीं बनना चाहते, अंदर से ही आपके अंदर नहीं आएगा कि मैं क्रिकेटर बन रहा हूँ, तो क्या क्यों होता है ऐसा? इन अ टिपिकल फैमिली मोस्ट मेंबर्स वुड पुट अ ग्रेट डील ऑफ प्रेशर ऑन यू टू फॉलो इनटू द स्टेप्स ऑफ brothers, sisters or parents. They do everything possible to teach you their ways and how to get the most out of your athletic ability. They discourage you from seriously pursuing any other interest. You go along with what they want because you don't want to be ostracized, but at the same time, doing what they want you to do just doesn't feel right. Although everything you have learned and been taught argues in favor of becoming an athlete, the problem is it doesn't feel like who you are. मतलब आपका अंदर से आता है कि नहीं, ये मैं वो नहीं हूँ जो मुझे बनना है, मुझे कुछ और करना है, और आपके अंदर से ना वो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट सा पैदा हो जाता है। The conflicts that result from what we are taught about what who we are supposed to be and the feeling that resonates at the deepest level of our being is not at all uncommon. I would say that many, if not most people, grow up in a family that cultural environment that gives little if any objective, non-judgmental support to the unique ways in which we feel compelled to express ourselves. This lack of support is not simply an absence of encouragement. It can be as deep as the outright denial of some particular way in which we want to express ourselves. For example, let's look at a common situation. A toddler who for the first time in his life notices this thing which we call a vase on the coffee table. He is curious, which means there is an inner force that compelling him to experience this object. In a sense, it's as if this force creates a vacuum in his mind that has to be filled with the object of his interest. So he focuses on the vase and with deliberately intent crawls across the vast expanse of the living room floor to the coffee table. When he gets there, he reaches up to the edge of the table to pull himself to his feet. अब क्या होता है कि बच्चे का कहानी दिखाया गया है कि बच्चे जब हम होते हैं छोटे तो कैसी चीज़ों की क्यूरियोसिटी होती है। With one hand firmly on the table to maintain his balance, his other hand reaches out to touch this thing that he has never experienced. Just at that moment, he hears a scream from across the room. No, don't touch that. Startled, the child falls back on his butt and begins to cry. Obviously, this is a very common occurrence and one that is completely unavoidable. Children have absolutely no concept of how they can injure themselves or how valuable something like a vase can be. In fact, learning what is safe and what isn't and the value of things are important lessons that child must learn. However, there are some extremely important psychological dynamics at work here that have a direct effect on our ability to create the kind of discipline and focus necessary to trade effectively in later life. ऑथर ये कहना चाह रहे हैं कि हम बचपन में जो इस सब चीज़ों की वजह से एक साइकोलॉजिकल डायनामिक्स है जो हमें डायरेक्ट इफेक्ट करती हैं आगे. What happens when we are denied the opportunity to express ourselves in the way we want to, or we are forced to express ourselves in a way that doesn't correspond with the natural selection process? आखिर होता क्या है? The experience creates an upset. Being upset implies an imbalance, but what exactly is out of balance? For something to be out of balance, there has to be something that's in balance or in equal proportion in the first place. That something is a relative degree of the correspondence that exists between our inner and mental environment and the exterior environment where we experience our lives. In other words, our needs and desires are generated in our mental environment and they are fulfilled in the exterior environment. If these two environments are in correspondence with one another, we are in a state of inner balance and we feel a sense of satisfaction or happiness. मतलब हमारे अंदर का जो इन्वायरमेंट है और बाहर का इन्वायरमेंट है जब दोनों एक साथ मिल जाता है, एक साथ जब कनेक्ट हो जाता है, तो कह रहे जो ऑथर है कि तब जाके हमें एक अच्छा बैलेंस मिलता है और फिर हमें हैप्पीनेस का सेंस मिलता है और हम हैप्पी रहते हैं क्योंकि जो हम अंदर से चाह रहे हैं वो हमें मिल जाए. If these environments are not in correspondence, we experience dissatisfaction, anger and frustration, or what is commonly referred to as emotional pain. Now, why would not getting what we want or being denied the freedoms to express ourselves in some particular way cause us to experience emotional pain? हमें emotional pain क्यों होता है? My personal theory is that needs and desires create mental vacuums. मतलब हमारे अंदर से जो भी कोई needs और जो desires होती है उसकी वजह से एक mental vacuum होता है जिसे हमें fill करना होता है. The universe in which we live has a natural tendency to not tolerate a vacuum and moves to fill it whenever one exists. वैक्यूम कभी वैक्यूम नहीं कहीं पे क्रिएट हो पाता है. वैक्यूम जनरली चीज़ों से फिल होने की कोशिश करता है. जैसे कि suck the air out of a bottle and your tongue and lips will get stick to the mouth of the bottle because you have created an imbalance which is called a vacuum which now must be filled. What are the dynamics behind the expression necessity is the mother of all invention? A recognition that a need creates a mental vacuum that the universe will fill with inspiring thoughts. The thoughts in turn can inspire movement and expression that result in the fulfillment of that need. In this respect, I think our mental environment works like a universe at large. मतलब जो हमारा दिमाग है वो भी एक यूनिवर्स की तरह ही काम करता है. अब ये कैसे काम करता है यही हमें समझना है. अगर हम ये चीज़ समझ गए तो फिर हमें आगे ट्रेडिंग में भी इस चीज़ को रिलेट कर सकते हैं. इन दिस रिस्पेक्ट I think the mental environment works like a universe at large. Once we recognize a need or desire, we move to fill the vacuum with an experience in the exterior environment. मतलब हमारे मन में जब कोई चीज़ आती है तो उसको हमें चाहिए कि हम उसको fill करें. If we are denied the opportunity to pursue the need or desire, it literally feels as if we are not whole or that something is missing. मतलब जो चीज़ हमें चाहिए वो हमें नहीं मिलती है तो एक imbalance और emotional pain create होता है. जैसे कि एक बच्चे से टेक अ टॉय फ्रॉम अ चाइल्ड हु इज़ नॉट फिनिश्ड प्लेइंग विथ इट रिगार्डलेस ऑफ हाउ गुड योर रीजंस मे बी द यूनिवर्सल रिस्पॉन्स विल बी इमोशनल पेन. तो बचपन से ही हमें हमारे अंदर ये चीज़ हो जाती है और जब तक हम बड़े होते हैं तब तक क्या होता है. By the time we are 18, we have been on earth approximately 6570 years days on average. How many times per day the typical child hears? मतलब हमें कितनी बार ये सुनने को मिलता है. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. Let me think about it. I'll let you know. It can't be done. What makes you think you can do it? You have to do. You have no choice. These are just a few of the relatively nice ways in which all of us are denied individual expressions as we grow up. Even if we only heard such statements once or twice a day, that still adds up to several thousand denials by the time we reach adulthood. ऑथर यहाँ पे ये कहना चाह रहे हैं जब तक हम बड़े होते हैं तब तक हमारे लाइफ में इतने डिनायल्स हो चुके होते हैं, इतने हमें चीज़ें डिनाई की गई होती हैं कि वो सब हमारे अंदर बैठी होती हैं. एक मतलब पूरी पाइल अप हो जाती है. आई कॉल these लैंड ऑफ एक्सपीरियंसेस डिनाइड impulses. To learn impulses that are based on an inner need originating from the deepest part of identity from the natural selection process. देखो सब डीपली आपको समझना पड़ेगा तभी आप अपने माइंड को कॉन्कर कर सकते हो. इसलिए ज़रूरी है कि इस चैप्टर को आप अच्छे से समझो कि हमें बचपन से कितनी चीज़ों को डिनाई की गई हैं. एंड इस वजह से हम ट्रेडिंग में आते हैं तो हम एकदम से ना खुल जाते हैं और फिर ये चीज़ें ऐसी करने लग जाते हैं जो हम खुद ही सेल्फ सबर्टाइज होते हैं. आगे आपको समझ आएगा कि ये कैसे रहता है. So what happens to all these impulses that have been denied and left unfulfilled? Do they just go away? They can if they are reconciled in some way. If we do something or something else does something to put our mental environment back into balance. What can put our mental environment back into balance? There are a number of techniques. The most natural one, especially for a child, is simply to cry. Crying is a natural mechanism for reconciling these denied, unfulfilled impulses. Scientific researchers have found tears to be composed of negatively charged ions. If allowed to take its natural course, crying will expel the negatively charged energy in our minds and bring us back to a state of balance even though the original impulse was never fulfilled. मतलब ऑथर ये बोलना चाह रहे हैं यहाँ पर कि जब छोटा होता है बच्चा तो क्राइंग से उसका जो मेंटल बैलेंस है वो थोड़ा सा बेटर होता है और उसको थोड़ा सा रिलीफ मिल जाता है. The problem is that most of the time events are not allowed to take their natural course and the denied impulses are never reconciled. There are many reasons why adults don't like it when their children cry and do everything they can to discourage this behavior. अब लोगों को रोने भी नहीं दिया जाता तो अंदर ही वो पूरा पाइल अप होता रहता है. There are just as many reasons why adults will not bother to explain to children why they are being forced to do something they don't want to do. Even if adults do try, there are no assurances that they will be effective enough to reconcile the imbalance. What happens if these impulses aren't reconciled? They accumulate and usually end up manifesting themselves in any number of addictive and compulsive behavior patterns. A very loose rule of thumb is whatever we believe we were deprived of as children can easily become addictions in adulthood. मतलब बचपन में जो चीज़ें से हमें दिक्कत हुई आगे जाके वही हमारे लिए एडिक्शन हो सकती है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल मेनी पीपल आर एडिक्टेड टू अटेंशन. आई एम रेफरिंग टू पीपल हु विल डू मोस्ट एनीथिंग टू ड्रॉ अटेंशन टू देमसेल्व्स. The most common reason for this is that they believe they either didn't get enough attention when they were young or didn't get it when it was important to them. In any case, the deprivation becomes unresolved emotional energy that compels them to behave in ways that will satisfy the addiction. What's important for us to understand about these unreconciled denied impulses is how they affect our ability to stay focused and take a disciplined, consistent approach to our trading. मतलब इन अनरिकनसाइल्ड और डिनाइड इम्पल्सेस जो हम सब के अंदर है इसकी वजह से हम डिसिप्लिन और कंसिस्टेंट नहीं रह पाते हैं क्योंकि बचपन से हमें ही काफ़ी ज़्यादा डिनाई किया गया है चीज़ों को. तो आगे बढ़ते हैं और नेक्स्ट सेक्शन पे चलते हैं जो कि है द सेफ गार्ड्स. The safeguards. To operate effectively in the trading environment, we need rules and boundaries to guide our behavior. It is simple fact of trading that the potential exists to enormous damage to ourselves, damage that can be way out of proportion to what we may think is possible. There are many kind of trades in which the risk of loss is unlimited. To prevent the possibility of exposing ourselves to damage, we need to create an internal structure in form of specialized mental discipline and a perspective that guides our behavior so that we always act in our own best interest. The structure has to exist within each of us because unlike society, the market doesn't provide it. The market provides structure in form of behavior patterns that indicate when an opportunity to buy or sell exists. But that's where the structure ends, with a simple indication. Otherwise, from each individual perspective, there are no formalized rules to guide your behavior. There aren't any beginnings, middles, or endings as there are in virtually every other activity we participated. मतलब कोई भी चीज़ में आप पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हो, चाहे वो गेम हो या कोई भी जॉब हो, उसमें there is a मतलब हर चीज़ की कोई बिगनिंग होती है, मिडल होता है, एंडिंग होती है. बट मार्केट 24 घंटे चलता रहता है. अब इसी वजह से प्रॉब्लम आती है कि हमें पता ही नहीं है कब इसको रोकना है. This is extremely important distinction with profound psychological implications. The market is like a stream that is in constant motion. ये कॉन्स्टेंटली मूव कर रहा है. इट डजंट स्टार्ट स्टॉप और वेट, क्योंकि ये दुनिया लगातार चल रही है. हर टाइम पे कुछ ना कुछ होता रहता है. जापान में चल रहा है, फिर चाइना में, फिर इंडिया में, फिर यूरोप में, फिर अमेरिका में, फिर जापान में. तो मार्केट तो कभी क्लोज ही नहीं होती. इवन व्हेन द मार्केट्स आर क्लोज्ड, प्राइसेस आर स्टिल इन मोशन. देयर इज नो रूल दैट द ओपनिंग प्राइस ऑन एनी डे मस्ट बी द सेम एज द क्लोजिंग प्राइस द डे बिफोर. नथिंग वी डू इन सोसाइटी प्रॉपरली प्रिपेयर्स अस टू फंक्शन इफेक्टिवली इन सच अ बाउंड्रीलेस इन्वायरमेंट. मतलब सोसाइटी ने हमें बाउंड्री लेस इन्वायरमेंट में काम करने का तरीका नहीं समझा रखा है. हर जगह हर सोसाइटी में बाउंड्रीज डिफाइंड है, लेकिन यहाँ मार्केट में क्या हो रहा है, कोई बाउंड्री नहीं है. Even gambling games have built-in structure that make them much different from trading and lot less dangerous. For example, if we decide to blackjack, the first thing we have to decide is how much we are going to wager or risk. This is a choice we are forced to make by the rules of the game. If we don't make the choice, we don't get to play. In trading, no one is going to force you to decide in advance what your risk is. आप कुछ भी risk कर सकते हैं. In fact, what we have is a limitless environment where virtually anything can happen at any moment, and only the consistent winner define the risk in advance of putting on a trade. जो कंसिस्टेंट विनर्स होते हैं वो अपना रिस्क पहले से डिफाइन करके चलते हैं. फॉर एवरी वन एल्स, डिफाइनिंग द रिस्क इन एडवांस वुड फोर्स यू टू कन्फर्म द रियलिटी दैट एवरी ट्रेड हैज अ प्रोबेबल आउटकम. जो लोग ट्रेडिंग में सक्सेसफुल अभी तक नहीं हुए हैं, वो तो पहली बात तो ट्रेड ही नहीं लेते ना, अगर उनको पता होता कि ये ट्रेड के चांसेस कम लग रहे हैं. लेकिन जो सक्सेसफुल ट्रेडर्स होते हैं उनको पता होते हुए भी ये ट्रेड शायद सक्सेसफुल ना हो, फिर भी वो ट्रेड लेते हैं, क्योंकि उनको पता है कि एक प्रोबेबिलिटी गेम है. Consistent losers do almost everything to avoid accepting the reality that no matter how good a trade looks, it could lose. ये accept करने के लिए ही ready नहीं है हम. Without the presence of external structure forcing the typical trader to think otherwise, he is susceptible to any number of justification, rationalizations, and the kind of distorted logic that will allow him to get into a trade believing that it can't lose, which makes determining the risk in advance irrelevant. तो भाई जो एक टिपिकल ट्रेडर है जो कि लॉसेस कर रहा है, वो कभी ये सोचता ही नहीं है कि उसको लॉसेस होंगे. अगर लॉसेस होने हैं तो वो ट्रेड ही नहीं लेगा. All gambling games have specific beginnings, middles, and endings based on sequence of events that determine the outcome of the game. Once you decide you are going to participate, you can't change your mind. You are in for duration. That's not true for trading. In trading, prices are in constant motion. Nothing begins until you decide it should. It lasts as long as you want, and it doesn't end until you want it to be over. Regardless of what you may have planned or wanted to do, any number of psychological factors can come into play, causing to become distracted, change your mind, become scared or overconfident. In other words, causing you to behave in the ways that are erratic and unintended. Because gambling games have formal ending, they force the participant to be an active loser. तो गैम्बलिंग से इसीलिए डिफरेंट है, या और ख़तरनाक इसीलिए है क्योंकि आप अपना दिमाग का संतुलन भी खो देते हो ट्रेडिंग में. कई बार ट्रेडिंग करते हुए आपके इमोशंस पे कंट्रोल नहीं होता है. इफ़ यू आर ऑन अ लूजिंग स्ट्रेक, you can't keep on losing without making a conscious decision to do so. The end of each game causes the beginning of new game, and you have to actively subject more of your assets to further risk by reaching into a wallet or pushing some chips to the center of the table. Trading has no formal ending. The market will not take you out of a trade unless you have the appropriate mental structure to end the trade in a manner that is always in your best interest. You can become a passive loser. This means that once you are in a losing trade, you don't have to do anything to keep on losing. You don't even have to watch. You can just ignore the situation and the market will take everything you own and more. मार्केट में ऐसा है भाई कि आपने कोई ट्रेड ले लिया, अब आपको हारने के लिए कुछ नहीं करना, आप चुपचाप बैठे रहो और दिन बीतते जाएंगे और आप हारते जाओगे. ये है ट्रेडिंग का सबसे बड़ा problem. One of the many contradictions of trading is that it offers a gift and a curse at the same time. The gift is that perhaps for the first time in our lives we are in complete control of everything we do. The curse is there are no external rules or boundaries to guide our structure or behavior. यही पैराडॉक्स है ट्रेडिंग की कि एक तरफ तो आपको पूरी फ्रीडम है, लेकिन सबसे प्रॉब्लम यही है कि कोई बाउंड्री नहीं है, कोई गाइडेंस नहीं है कि आपको करना क्या है. The unlimited characteristics of trading environment require that we act with some degree of restraint and self-control, at least if we want to create some measure of consistent success. इसीलिए हमें self control और कुछ measures लेने पड़ते हैं सक्सेस होने के लिए. The structure we need to guide our behavior has to originate in your mind, a conscious act of free will. This is where the problem begins. यहीं से सारी प्रॉब्लम शुरुआत होती है. जो हमें स्ट्रक्चर बनाना है, हम स्ट्रक्चर बना भी लेते हैं, उसको फॉलो नहीं करते। द विलिंगनेस टू क्रिएट rules. I have not yet encountered a person interested in trading who didn't resist the notion of creating a set of rules. Their resistance isn't always overt. Quite the contrary, it's usually very subtle. We agree on the one hand that rules make sense, but we really have no intention of doing whatever is being suggested. This resistance can be intense and it has a logical source. Most of the structure in our mind was given to us as a result of our social upbringing and based on choices made by other people. In other words, it was instilled in our minds but did not originate in our minds. This is a very important distinction. In the process of instilling structure, many of our natural impulse to move, express, and learn about the nature of our existence through our own direct experience were denied. Many of these denied impulses, जैसे पहले भी ऑथर ने बताया था कि ये जो डिनाइड इम्पल्सेस है कि हमें हर चीज़ के लिए मना कर दिया गया, वो सब पाइल अप हो जाती हैं. They were never reconciled and still exist inside of us as frustration, और हम frustration की तरह वो अंदर बैठी होती है, disappointment, guilt और even hatred की तरह. The accumulation of these negative feelings acts as a force inside our mental environment, causing us to resist anything that denies us the freedom to do and be whatever we want when what we want. अब इसी की वजह से हमें फ्रस्ट्रेशन शुरू होती है, क्योंकि हर चीज़ हमें डिनाई करी गई है, और अब जब हमें मिल रहा है ट्रेडिंग में एक फ्रीडम का, तो वहाँ भी डिनाई हो रहा है. तो ऐसे नहीं होता ना, इसीलिए हम फ्रस्ट्रेट होते हैं. इन अदर वर्ड्स, द वेरी रीज़न वी आर अट्रैक्टेड टू ट्रेडिंग इन द फर्स्ट प्लेस, द अनलिमिटेड फ्रीडम. ये समझने की ज़रूरत है भाई, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. जो ट्रेडिंग में जिस रीज़न की वजह से हम आए हैं, हम आए क्यों? क्योंकि हमें यहाँ पे फ्रीडम मिल रहा है अपने आप को एक्सप्रेस करने का, कि हम अपने हिसाब से रूल्स बनाएं, खरीदें, बेचें, करें. कोई बॉस नहीं है, आप फ्री हैं, आपको ऐसा लगता है. और वहीं पे आपको ऐसा लगता है कि अब हमें रूल्स बनाने हैं, द काइंड ऑफ रूल्स एंड बाउंड्रीज दैट कैन अप्रोप्रिएटली गाइड और बिहेवियर. आप कह रहे हो, आपकी पहले तो कहते हो ट्रेडिंग में फ्रीडम है, अब हमें खुद ही अपने रूल बनाने हैं. अब जब रूल बनाने हैं तो फिर उनको फॉलो भी करना पड़ेगा. It's as if we have found an utopia in which there is complete freedom, and then someone taps us on the shoulder and says, "Hey, you have to create rules, and not only that, you also have to have the discipline to abide by them." भाई ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट लाइन है कि ट्रेडिंग में कोई फ्रीडम नहीं है. जो लोगों को लगता है ना कि ट्रेडिंग में बहुत फ्रीडम है, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है भाई. यहाँ पर आपको अपने रूल्स बनाने पड़ेंगे. रूल्स बनाने के बाद डिसिप्लिन भी होना चाहिए कि आप उसको फॉलो कर सकें. The need for rules may make perfect sense, but it can difficult to generate the motivation to create these rules when we have been trying to break free from them most of our lives. It usually takes a great deal of pain and suffering to break down the source of our resistance to establishing and abiding by a trading regime that is organized, consistent, and reflects prudent money management guidelines. Now, I am not implying that you have to reconcile all of your past frustrations and disappointments to become a successful trader, because that's not the case, and you certainly don't have to suffer. I have worked with many traders who have achieved their objectives of consistency and haven't done anything to reconcile their backlog of denied impulses. However, I am implying that you can't take for granted how much effort and focus you may have to put into building the kind of mental structure that compensate for the negative effect denied impulses can have on your ability to establish the skill that will assure you success as a trader. Problem: failure to take responsibility. Trading can be characterized as a pure, encumbered personal choice with an immediate outcome. Remember, nothing happens until we decide to start. It lasts as long as we want, and it doesn't end until we decided to stop. All of these beginnings, middle, and endings are the result of our interpretation of the information available and how we choose to act on our own interpretation. मतलब ट्रेडिंग में हम जब तक डिसाइड ना करें कि हमें कोई ट्रेड लेना है, तब तक वो शुरू नहीं होगा. जब तक हम चाहें तब तक चल सकता है, और जब हम चाहें तब वो एंड होगा. और ये सारी इंटरप्रिटेशन हमें खुद करनी है. मार्केट आपको कुछ ऐसा नहीं बोलती कि आप बाई करो, बेचो, खरीदो, कुछ भी करो. ये हमारा अपना इंटरप्रिटेशन होता है मार्केट को लेकर. नाउ वी मे वांट द फ्रीडम टू मेक चॉइसेस, बट दैट डजंट मीन वी आर रेडी टू विलिंग एक्सेप्ट द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फॉर द आउटकम. मतलब हम तो चाहते हैं कि हमें फ्रीडम मिल जाए चूज़ करने का, लेकिन जब उसका आउटकम आता है तो हम मार्केट के ऊपर ब्लेम करते हैं. भाई ऐसा क्यों? आपने अपने हिसाब से ट्रेड को सोच के लिया कि मैं यहाँ पर ट्रेड ले रहा हूँ, और आप रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी मार्केट पे डाल रहे हो. Traders who are not ready to accept the responsibility for the outcomes of their interpretations and actions will find themselves in a dilemma. How does one participate in an activity that allows complete freedom of choice and at the same time avoid taking responsibility if the outcome of one's choice are unexpected and not to one's liking? The hard reality of trading is that if you want to create consistency, you have to start from the premise that no matter what the outcome, you are completely responsible. भाई ये फर्स्ट स्टेप है ट्रेडिंग का कि सबसे पहले तो आप रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लो. This is a level of responsibility few people have aspired to become they decide to become trader. The way to avoid responsibility is to adopt a trading style that is to all intents and purposes random. I define random trading as poorly planned trades or traders that are not planned at all. It is an unorganized approach that takes into consideration an unlimited set of market variables which do not allow you to find out what works on a consistent basis and what does not. Randomness is unstructured freedom without responsibility. When we trade without well-defined plans and with an unlimited set of variables, it's very easy to take credit for the trades that turn out to be our liking because there was some method present. At the same time, it's very easy to avoid taking responsibility for the trades that didn't turn out the way we wanted because there is always some variable we didn't know about and therefore couldn't take into consideration beforehand. If the market's behavior were truly random, then it would be difficult, if not impossible, to create consistency. If it's impossible to be consistent, then we really don't have to take responsibility. The problem with this logic is that our direct experience of the markets tell us something different. The same behavior patterns present themselves over and over again. Even though the outcome of each individual pattern is random, the outcome of a series of patterns is consistent, statistically reliable. This is a paradox. मतलब पैराडॉक्स क्या है कि हमें इमीडिएट ट्रेड का आउटकम तो नहीं पता, लेकिन सीरीज ऑफ ट्रेड्स में आपको ये पता होता है कि आउट ऑफ 100 ट्रेड्स माई 60 ट्रेड्स या 50 ट्रेड्स आर गोइंग टू बी प्रॉफिटेबल वंस. ये तो आपको पता है कि आउट ऑफ 100 ट्रेड्स, क्योंकि आपने ये बैक टेस्ट करके आप ये पता कर सकते हो. ये चीज़ अगर आप समझ गए ना तो फिर आपको कोई दिक्कत नहीं होगी. दिस इज अ पैराडॉक्स बट वन दैट इज इजीली रिजॉल्व विद अ डिसिप्लिन्ड, ऑर्गेनाइज्ड एंड अ कंसिस्टेंट अप्रोच. अगर आप कंसिस्टेंटली ट्रेडिंग करोगे, उस ट्रेड्स को लोगे एंड 100 ट्रेड्स तो कम से कम लो, तब समझ में आएगा आपको. आई हैव वर्कड विद काउंटलेस ट्रेडर्स हु वुड स्पेंड आवर्स डूइंग मार्केट एनालिसिस एंड प्लानिंग ट्रेड्स फॉर द नेक्स्ट डे. Then instead of putting on the trades they planned, they did something else. The trades they did put on were usually ideas from friends or tips from brokers. I probably don't have to tell you that the trades they originally planned but didn't act on were usually the big winners of the day. This is the classic example of a unstructured random trading because we want to avoid responsibility. When we act on our own ideas, we put our creative abilities on the line and we get instant feedback on how well our ideas worked. It's very difficult to rationalize away any unsatisfactory results. On the other hand, when we enter an unplanned random trade, it's much easier to shift the responsibility by blaming the friend or the broker for their bad idea. There is something else about the nature of trading that makes it easy to escape the responsibility that comes with creating structure in favor of trading randomly. It is the fact that any trade has the potential to be a winner, even a big winner. That big winning trade can come your way whether you are a great analyst or a lousy one. Whether you do or don't take responsibility, it takes effort to create the kind of disciplined approach that is necessary to become a consistent winner. But as you can see, it's very easy to avoid this kind of mental work in favor of trading with an undisciplined random approach. Problem: addiction to random rewards. Several studies have been done on the psychological effects of random rewards on monkeys. Monkeys पे एक study की गई थी. For example, if you teach a monkey to do a task and consistently reward it every time the task is done, the money quickly learns to associate a specific outcome with the efforts. If you stop rewarding it for doing the task within a short period of time, the monkey will simply stop doing the task. It won't waste its energy doing something that it has now learned it won't be rewarded for. However, the monkey's response to being cut off from the reward is very different if you start out a purely random schedule instead of a consistent one. मतलब monkeys के साथ एक करा गया टेस्ट, उसमें देखा गया कि अगर उनको हम बार बार रिवॉर्ड्स दें, मान लो एक केला दें और वो काम करने पे, कोई स्पेसिफिक टास्क करने पे, तो वो करते रहेंगे उसी टास्क को। एंड अगर हम वो छोड़ दें बनाना देना, तो फिर वो स्टॉप कर देंगे। लेकिन अगर हम क्या करें कि रैंडमली बीच बीच में देते रहें, तो फिर वो करते ही रहेंगे। लेकिन however the monkey's response to being cut off from the reward is very different if you start put on a purely random schedule instead of consistent one. When you stop offering the reward, there is no way the monkey can know that it will never be rewarded again for doing that task. Every time it was rewarded in the past, the reward came as a surprise. As a result, from the monkey's perspective, there is no reason to quit doing the task. The monkey keeps on doing the task even without being rewarded for doing it. Some will continue indefinitely. मतलब ऐसा हो जाता है, और यही प्रॉब्लम है हमारे साथ भी। हम इसी होप में बैठे रहते हैं कि ये ट्रेड चलेगा चलेगा, और हम करते रह जाते हैं क्योंकि रैंडम रिवॉर्ड्स कभी कभी मिले हमें, तो हमें लगता है कि हम जो कर रहे हैं सही कर रहे हैं। I am not sure why we are susceptible to becoming an addicted to random rewards. If I had to guess, I would say that it probably has something to do with euphoria-inducing chemicals that are released in our brains when we experience an unexpected pleasant surprise. If a reward is random, we never know for sure if and when we might receive it. So expending energy and resources in the hope of experiencing that wonderful feeling of surprise again isn't difficult. In fact, for many people it can be very addicting. On the other hand, when we expect a particular outcome and it doesn't come about, we are disappointed and feel bad. If we do it again and get the same disappointing outcome, it isn't likely that we will keep doing something we know will cause us emotional pain. The problem with any addiction is that it leaves us in a state of choicelessness. To whatever degree that addiction dominates our state of mind, to that same degree our focus and efforts will be geared toward fulfilling the object of that addiction. Other possibility that exist in any given moment to fulfill other needs, like the need to trust ourselves and not to subject too many of our assets to risk, are either ignored or dismissed. We feel powerless to act in any other way than to satisfy the addiction. An addiction to random rewards is a particularly troublesome for traders because it is another source of resistance to creating the kind of mental structure that produces consistency. Next problem: external versus internal control. Our upbringing has programmed us to function in a social environment, which means we have acquired certain thinking strategies for fulfilling our needs, wants, and desires that are geared towards social interaction. Not only have we learned to depend on each other to fulfill the needs, wants, and desires we cannot fulfill completely on our own, but in process we have acquired many socially based controlling and manipulating techniques for assuring that other people behave in a manner that is consistent with what we want. The markets may seem like a social endeavor because there are so many people involved, but they are not. If in today's modern society we have learned to depend on each other to fulfill basic needs, then the market environment can be characterized as a psychological wilderness where it's truly every man or woman for himself or herself. Not only can we not depend on the market to do anything for us, but it is extremely difficult, if not impossible, to manipulate or control anything that the market does. Now, if we have become effective at fulfilling our needs, wants, and desire by learning how to control and manipulate our environment, but suddenly find ourselves as traders in an environment that does not know, care, or respond to anything that is important to us, where does that leave us? You're right if you said the proverbial creek without a paddle. बेसिकली क्या है, सोसाइटी में हमें हर चीज़ को कंट्रोल करना अच्छा लगता है कि हमारे हिसाब से सारी चीज़ें हों, लेकिन मार्केट में जब हमारे हिसाब से चीज़ें नहीं होती जैसा हम चाहते हैं, तो फिर हमें काफ़ी प्रॉब्लम फेस करते हैं, इसीलिए ट्रेडिंग में हम फेल होते हैं. One of the principal reasons so many successful people have failed miserably at trading is that their success is partly attributed to their superior ability to manipulate and control the social environment. यही मैंने बोला ना कि उनको मैनिपुलेट करते हैं इन्वायरमेंट, जो सोसाइटी की है, जो वहाँ पे जहाँ पे वो काम कर रहे थे उसको उनको मैनिपुलेट करना आता है. बट यहाँ मार्केट में नहीं होता कि आप जो चाहे उसके हिसाब से आप उसको कंट्रोल कर सकें. टू सम डिग्री ऑल ऑफ अस हैव लर्नड और डेवलप्ड टेक्निक्स टू मेक द एक्सटर्नल एनवायरनमेंट conform to our mental environment. The problem is that none of these techniques work with the market. The market doesn't respond to control and manipulation. However, we can control our perception and interpretation of market information as well as our own behavior. हमें तो भाई मार्केट के हिसाब से ही अपने आप को डालना पड़ता है. हमने बाई किया, मार्केट ऊपर जा रही, लेकिन मार्केट अगर रिवर्स हो जाए तो हमें अपने आप को वहाँ से रिवर्स गियर लगाना पड़ता है. तो ये है मार्केट और सोसाइटी का डिफरेंस, और यही लोग नहीं कर पाते हैं. अगर आपको ये करना आ गया कि कैसे अपने आप को कंट्रोल करके चेंज करना है, तो आप कर लोगे. However, we can control our perception and interpretation of market information as well as our own behavior instead of controlling our surroundings, so then confirm our ideas the way things should be. We can learn to control ourselves. Then we can perceive information from the most objective perspective possible and structure our mental environment so that we always behave in a manner that is in our own best interest. मतलब यहाँ पे ये कह रहे हैं कि मार्केट को तो आप कंट्रोल करने से रहे, तो वहाँ की अब आप कोशिश करो कि मैं मार्केट को कंट्रोल कर सकूँ, मेरे हिसाब से मार्केट हो, तो आप इमोशनली इतने टूट जाओगे. उससे बेटर है कि आप अपने आप को मार्केट के हिसाब से ढाल लो और अपने आप को इसी तरीके से कंट्रोल करो कि मार्केट के हिसाब से आप चल पाओ, तो ही आप जाके ट्रेडिंग में सक्सेसफुल हो सकते हो. अब आते हैं चैप्टर 3 पे. सो आई होप यहाँ तक आपको काफ़ी मज़ा आया होगा और वर्ड बाय वर्ड समझने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं आई होगी. आप अपना फीडबैक कमेंट सेक्शन में बता सकते हैं. बाकी चैप्टर 3, चैप्टर 4, चैप्टर 5 आगे हम कवर करेंगे एंड फिर इसी वीडियोस में हम उसको ऐड करते जाएंगे. अभी के लिए मैं ये वीडियो यहाँ पे अपलोड कर दूँगा, फिर बाकी के चैप्टर्स को भी मैं आगे ऐड करता जाऊँगा. तो मिलते हैं आपसे अगली वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए टेक केयर, सी यू, बाय.